I was having a little too much fun with the comments there during the opening. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. I got news for you today. It's going to be a tough show. It's going to be a tough show because this today may cause us to rethink. One of the things I like about the Charlie Kirk case is it gives us an opportunity to examine what it is we think we know about reality. You know, you watch movies like The Matrix or whatever, and you think, what if everything's a simulation? What if everything's a lie? Well, I'm here to tell you, what if everything you thought you knew about how politics works is a lie? Because that's what we're going to talk about today. That's ultimately the lesson of the story. Yes, we're going to talk about Andrew Kolvet. Yes, we're going to talk about Johnny Moore. Yes, we're going to talk about the invasion of TPUSA, the co-opting of Charlie Kirk, his message, his organization. Yes, we're going to talk about all that. It's going to be a tough show. But I think the tougher part of the lesson is everything you've ever believed is a lie. And today will exemplify that. It will exemplify that. This was a tough show to research and prepare. Daisy and I had some tough conversations today as we went through this outline that we're going to talk about tonight, as we populated it, as we went through some of the research. This was a tough show. And I thought about getting cute with the title because titles matter, and people sometimes look at the title and think that looks like a boring show. I'm not going to watch it. And so you hurt yourself if you don't have a cute title. I don't care. I'm past that. I don't care anymore about that stuff. What I want to do is be honest with what we're going to talk about. And what we're going to talk about today is the invasion, the TPUSA takeover by Andrew Kolvet and Johnny Moore that may have cost Charlie Kirk his life, allegedly, in my opinion. Because I think by the time we get to the end of the day, you know how we got to the end of the show yesterday and people were like, holy mackerel, what was that? I think we'll have that same kind of a conversation today. So welcome in. Again, I love doing openings. I love writing openings, but today I did not have time to write one. The research took too long. And it would take away from my ability to get through this whole outline. So if you tune in only for the openings, I apologize. Come back on Wednesday. But if you want to just jump into the meat of it, we're going to get right into it. This today is a tough show. I didn't even put it on X because I don't want to deal with people today. I just want to do the show, put it out there, get the evidence out there, let the chips fall where they may. Because as I was researching this, I kept going, no way. How have we missed this the whole time? I made a comment last week. I said, I don't think Erica Kirk killed Charlie Kirk. People lost their minds. Today may cause people to lose their minds again. Because I'm going to raise a possibility at the end of the show. Well, I'll get to that. How about that? Let's just wait until see where we get. I'll surprise you. You'll surprise me. We'll surprise each other, and we'll get through this together. All right, let me jump right into it because yesterday we talked about, just as by way of reminder, just want to show you where we were yesterday. We talked about this character, tall, dark, and handsome though he may be, Andrew Kolvet. I watched a little of your show today, Andrew. I noticed you didn't talk about this show last night. You had a boring show with 200 viewers today. I noticed you didn't talk about this and what we did yesterday, talking about your past and your history. I doubt you're going to get to this show tomorrow, but maybe. We talked about your employment gap from October of 12 to May of 14. And then we talked about how you went to work for Mark Burnett and how that was only a short period of time. And then you go work for the Kairos company with Johnny Moore. Tonight, we're going to talk in depth about what you guys did together. And I think it's going to shed tremendous light to this audience on what Charlie Kirk was up against. And he had no idea what he was up against. And then you left Kairos and went out on your own and represented Charlie Kirk. Everybody acts like you're a TPUSA employee. I noticed TPUSA is not there. You worked for the ATK company. So let's just get through this because I'm telling you guys, this hurt. This was a painful show to put together. Now, that said, I want to introduce Johnny Moore. We talked about him a bit yesterday. I want to introduce Johnny Moore, and I'm going to go right to the heart of the matter. I'm going to cut right to the chase, and then we'll back up. Sometimes you got to see where we're going and then back up from there. see where we're going, and then back up from there. This is Johnnie Moore's bio. This is Johnnie Moore's bio, but I want to go right to the heart of this and show you from the Kairos website just a little ditty here, a little tidbit that he thinks is valuable enough to his story that he has to include it on his bio. I'll make it as big as I can, guys. I apologize. I should throw these things on slides or something, but whatever. During the Obama administration in early 2014, well, you'll notice this is a timeline. Let's put it in the timeline here. 2014, early 2014, where was Johnnie Moore working? He was working with Mark Burnett. During the Obama administration, while he's working with Mark Burnett, Reverend Moore visited Capitol Hill to warn about the existential threat that a little-known terrorist group, later known as ISIS, posed to the ancient Christian communities of the Middle East. His advocacy was largely met by indifference and skepticism. He continued to raise alarm. By the fall of 2014, ISIS had indeed embarked upon a reign of terror across Iraq and Syria, decimating ancient Christian communities. That's a weird way to introduce yourself on your company bio. It's a tremendous chunk of his company bio. So now that I'm right at the heart of it, that seems awfully weird. You worked for a company that made reality shows, Survivor, The Apprentice. Why are you traveling to Washington, D.C. to warn about ISIS? Well, what we're going to find out today, ladies and gentlemen, is this is who he is. This is what he does. Here's a quick bio from his current job at Pepperdine. You'll notice there's a Pepperdine connection with a lot of these stories. Johnnie Moore works at Pepperdine. Erica apparently tried to enroll at Pepperdine at one time or another. Stacey Sheridan worked at Pepperdine. Kenneth Starr worked at Pepperdine. Kenneth Starr, of course, being famous for the guy who told Charlie Kirk, don't go to college. He was the president of Baylor at the time. This is Johnnie Moore. This is his vice chancellor, managing. This is currently on the Pepperdine website. So we've got a good current bio for him here. He's vice chancellor, managing director for Middle East studies at Pepperdine in Washington, D.C. He works at the intersection of faith and foreign policy, particular expertise in the Middle East, religious freedom, the emerging relationship between faith and artificial intelligence. That's weird. A world expert on religious freedom. We'll talk about that. Twice appointed to the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, serving across the Trump and Biden administrations. 2023, Jerusalem Post names him one of the world's 2025 young visionary for his peacemaking work among Arabs and Israelis. 2020, credited with playing a meaningful role in the Abraham Accords. This is a weird bio for somebody who worked with Mark Burnett making The Survivor. 2025, led the government's historic effort to provide nearly 200 meals to the people of Gaza. This is his book, Defying ISIS, that he wrote, I believe, while he worked for Mark Burnett. Survivor, The Apprentice. On the side, he's writing a book, Defying ISIS, Awaken the West to the Atrocities Against Christians and Yazidis. So this is who he is. This is Johnnie Moore. Well, let's go back to the beginning. Where did he come from? How did he end up here? Who is Johnnie Moore? Well, let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to Johnnie Moore's childhood. This is from the Liberty University story here. This is Johnnie Moore at the beginning. He came from divorced parents. When you come from the heart of the Bible Belt, it's like a scarlet letter. Magic was very much an escape, he says. His pastor at the time was the Moral Majority's founder, the Reverend Jerry Falwell, who took up an interest in the youth. Isn't that weird? Now, Jerry Falwell, Liberty University, Candace has covered Liberty University. This was the home for unwedded mothers. This is where Charlie Kirk started the Fall Kirk Center with Jerry Falwell. This is where Erica Kirk got at least one degree, maybe was working on a second degree, maybe or maybe not. I don't even know. Can't believe anything she says on her resume. But his pastor, while he was growing up, was Jerry Falwell. Falkirk Center, Falwell Kirk Center, Falkirk, Falwell. Moore quickly became Falwell's protege. That means the old man took an interest in the very young man. Jerry Falwell, keep in mind, was an elderly man by this time. But he took a keen interest in this teenager named Johnnie Moore. When Moore got to Liberty a few years later, Falwell made him a campus pastor. Within 2 years, and soon a spokesman. Guys, I'm telling you, within 2 years, he would have been 19 or 20 years old. He was the campus pastor at Liberty University and a campus spokesperson. What were you doing your sophomore year in college? Were you the campus pastor and a spokesperson for the university? Moore often traveled with Falwell around the world as his assistant until Falwell's death in 2007. That's a little close. Kind of reminds you of Charlie Kirk traveling around the country with 72, 73-year-old Bill Montgomery. Today, Moore is not only vice president of the 12,000, this is a little older here, this bio, but at the time he was the vice president of the 12,500 person campus, but the best known of a half a dozen campus pastors, the one who leads Sunday services, thrice weekly convocation, directs a 17-person department that sends Liberty students around the world on missions. So this is kind of a coming of age. This is a coming of age. This is early Johnnie Moore. And again, if you don't know who Johnnie Moore is, I'm just introducing you. A lot of people don't know who he is. They've never heard the name. But Johnnie Moore is this young guy who at one point lived in like 20 houses in the first 10 years of his life. He came from a very tough family situation. If you know anything about kids that are conditioned, a lot of times they come from tough family situations. I am by no means suggesting Johnnie Moore was conditioned, particularly by Jerry Falwell. I'm just saying the pattern would be the same. This is what would happen had he been. But he grew up in the Bible Belt. His paternal grandfather was a pastor. His father and grandfather both had hidden children that they fathered outside of wedlock. The family moved, like I said, 20 times in the first 10 years of his life. This is a tough way to grow up if you're Johnnie Moore. This is a tough life. When he's 15 years old, this is 1998, he's 15 years old, Jerry Falwell Sr. is his pastor. Johnnie Moore's living in his parents' basement in Lynchburg, Virginia. And Jerry Falwell Jr. allegedly receives a tape. We have no information on who sent the tape or what was going on, but he receives a tape of Johnnie Moore preaching. Oh, and Jerry Falwell's captivated. He just can't get enough of it. So captivated is Jerry Falwell that he agrees to enroll and alleges an anonymous donor did it, but I would guess that Jerry Falwell probably paid for it. Agrees to arrange for the payment of Johnnie Moore's private school education at Lynchburg Christian Academy there in Lynchburg, Virginia. You've got this poor kid, terrible family life, moved all over the Southeast, home after home after home after home. And he gets this elderly pastor who takes a keen liking to him out of nowhere and agrees to pay for his high school at the local private school. And then after high school, Johnnie Moore enrolls in Reverend Falwell's university, Liberty University there, which has its own issues, its own controversies. The Falwell family has their own issues and controversies, particularly around zippers that don't always stay up. But they embark, I'll use that, they embark on a partnership. Jerry Falwell Sr., the old man, and very young teenage Johnnie Moore. They engage on this very close partnership, this very close relationship. So close that Johnnie Moore ascends through Liberty University faster than anyone in American history, really. 18 years old, while he's still a freshman in college, he joins the staff of Liberty University and becomes a chaplain in the campus pastor's office. Within a couple of years, while still in school, he rises to be the campus kind of communications guy. And then after he gets out of school, he stays at Liberty University. He rises eventually to become the senior VP of communications, the university spokesperson, a professor of religion, the leader of convocations, He oversaw global engagements and mission programs. He was the youngest university VP in America. And he traveled as the personal companion, friend, assistant, whatever, with Jerry Falwell until Jerry Falwell dies. He stayed at Liberty University for a total of 13 years. Jerry Falwell Sr. died in 2007. And he stayed at Liberty University until 2014. So he stayed 7 years after that. He received a Bachelor of Science in Religion. He became a licensed Baptist minister. You'll never guess who ordained him. Oh, that's right. Jerry Falwell Sr. is the one who ordained him. He gets a Master of Arts in Religion from Liberty Theological Seminary at 2007, and that is when Jerry Falwell Sr. died. He was just 24 years old. And then in 2012, while Johnnie Moore is just 29 years old, a moment happens at Liberty University that I believe changed his life. Changed Johnnie Moore's life. It's this story right here. Donald Trump addresses largest convocation crowd, praises Liberty University's growth. Liberty University hosted its most highly anticipated convocation speaker on Monday in a speech that began with the dire state of the nation's economy and failed foreign relations. Donald Trump engaged students for about 30 minutes about the values that brought him to the pinnacle of the real estate development business and business success. The event was attended by national and local media audit outlets. No doubt drew the largest audience ever. That was 2012. 29-year-old Johnnie Moore, we know, was there because we have this picture on the Liberty University Facebook page. This is Johnnie Moore on the tarmac, right there in the middle with Donald Trump right next to him. That's Jerry Falwell Jr. right here. And over here is Michael Cohen. You'll remember Michael Cohen because he went to prison, I think, for Donald Trump. And I believe that is, I think her name's Schusterman. That's, I think that's Michael Cohen's wife. It looks like her. If it's not, it's just a woman that looks like Michael Cohen's wife. It's just some other woman. But I think that's Michael Cohen's wife. I could be wrong. But that's young Johnnie Moore, 29-year-old Johnnie Moore on the tarmac 4 years before Donald Trump becomes president of the United States, or 4.5 years before he becomes president of the United States, with Jerry Falwell Jr. And at that point, I believe Johnnie Moore's life was fundamentally altered. He abruptly leaves Liberty University. Not long after that, like less than 2 years later. He abruptly leaves Liberty University after 13 years there, after absolutely running as basically every department he can find there. Campus pastor, VP of communications, VP of this, VP of that, personal traveling companion of Jerry Falwell Sr., the founder of Liberty University. I mean, the guy is basically Liberty Jr., Johnnie Moore is. And he abruptly leaves. And you think, what does a guy with this much of an academic background, what would he go on to do? Well, we know precisely what he went on to do. Well, did he go work at another university, maybe a larger university, maybe a tier 1 research university? Maybe he went to the University of Virginia, stayed in town. No, he didn't do that. Oh, maybe he went to a Big Ten school. Maybe he went to Illinois or Ohio State. No, he didn't do that. Well, maybe he went on to run some sort of Christian organization. He was, after all, an ordained pastor. Maybe he opened a super church. What do they call mega churches? They call them. No, he didn't do that. Oh, a large Christian organization? No, he didn't do that either. In fact, we know precisely what he did. We know precisely what he did. Because we go back to the Kairos bio. In one of the strangest things I've ever read about any human being with Johnnie Moore's background. He began his career, I'm reading right here in the middle. He began his career at the 100,000 Student Liberty University, where he served as the school's senior vice president for communications during the time when Liberty University added more than 75,000 students to his annual enrollment and added more than $1.2 billion to its endowment and cash reserve. After a dozen years at Liberty University and before founding Kairos, Moore was personally recruited by Emmy Award-winning mega producer Mark Burnett from Survivor, Shark Tank, The Voice, Celebrity Apprentice to serve as chief of staff and vice president of faith content for his United Artists Media Group, an MGM company. Oh, that's what he did. Because that's the most natural transition in the history of mankind. You go work in Hollywood. When you've got a career in academia, of course. Why wouldn't you be personally recruited by a mega producer in Hollywood? A guy who makes The Celebrity Apprentice and Survivor, one of the most successful Hollywood producers of all time. Why wouldn't it make sense that you go from Liberty University and campus pastor and VP of communications to chief of staff for a Hollywood producer? What? How? Why? How is that even a remote? How did Mark Burnett even know who he was to go recruit him? You know, we talked about Mark Burnett last night. If you missed that show, you should go back and watch it. It's important. I think Mark Burnett plays an important role in the story of how Charlie Kirk died. He's an important character in that story. Does that mean Mark Burnett was on the roof of the Losi Center? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is Mark Burnett has this weird connection to key players that are popping up, like Andrew Kolvet and Johnnie Moore. So this is sort of an intro into Johnnie Moore. This takes you from his childhood, his very troubled childhood. He doesn't seem like a bad kid. I mean, admittedly, from what I can tell, he's a perfectly good kid. But he came from a troubled, broken home, very volatile, very transitional home. Not a very permanent home structure at all. He ends up, during this really weird childhood, having this very close personal relationship with a very much an elderly man. And everything sort of fell into place for him at that point. That is Johnnie Moore up until the point he goes to work for Mark Burnett, somehow personally recruited by Mark Burnett. If I am Mark Burnett, I've been on these things where we have to go hire people. I've been on hiring committees. You typically look for somebody in the industry you're hiring from. You don't go personally recruit people out of random industries. So like if you're in a tech company, you're not going to go into like an elementary school looking for a principal and say, hey, you want to be a tech entrepreneur? No, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. If you're a Hollywood producer, you don't typically go to a small Baptist Christian school in Lynchburg, Virginia and say, you got anybody that could be a producer or a chief of staff? No, I mean, it's just a weird combo. There's some strange, very weird connection here. And it's never been fully explained. I looked and I looked and I looked. And that explanation I gave you right there was the best explanation I got for it. He was personally recruited by Mark Burnett. How? Why? How do you even know who this guy is? But I don't want to get tied down on that because we can't spend too much time there. We have to keep moving tonight. There's a lot to cover. So he only stays with Mark Burnett for 15 months. Mark Burnett comes, he personally recruits him. He grabs him out of relative academic obscurity. He's the big fish in a very small pond. Liberty University, I mean, we've all heard of it, but it's a very small school in the grand scheme of things. He's a large fish in a very small pond. Mark Burnett is a very big fish in a massive pond in the ocean. He's like a whale in the ocean. He needs a chief of staff. He goes to the smallest pond he can find in a totally other industry, and he finds a fish in that pond, and he says, come be my chief of staff. Weird? Yes. Even weirder in that, as we discussed last night, Mark Burnett also, about the same time, hires Andrew Kolvet, like within a month or two of it. So something's going on with the producer of The Celebrity Apprentice where he is going out there and he's grabbing random talent and bringing them in. They only stay for a year and a half each, and then they go off and start their own company. Allegedly, this is a reality television company. It's starting to look like an intel training operation. If I'm being honest, that's kind of what it more looks like. But whatever. So while Johnny Moore is there, while Johnny Moore is at this Hollywood company, Johnny Moore gets hired. He gets personally recruited. He's brought in by Mark Burnett. While he's there, he decides, I come from a background of being a Baptist pastor. I come from a background of being a senior VP of communications for a small university. I'm now working for a reality television show. Well, it's only natural that I would work to launch a $25 million plan to help Christians in Iraq and Syria. Walking the streets of Erbil, Johnny Moore was struck by what he saw. Christians were everywhere on streets and abandoned buildings and canvas tents that are not waterproof or winterized. The former Liberty University chaplain and spokesman wrote of his visit last week in Iraqi Kurdistan. Having survived eradication by terror groups, they now might die unnaturally from the coming harsh winter. Moore, who now serves as the chief of staff for Mark Burnett and Roma Downey, announced yesterday that the Powerhouse TV Christian couple are raising $25 million to partner with a Muslim king to help Iraqi and Syrian Christians, as well as other minorities displaced by ISIS, survive the coming winter. This is a natural transition, I suppose. You're working in Hollywood. Why wouldn't you go to Iraqi Kurdistan and try to find some Christians to help? I'm not knocking it. It sounds like good work. It's just very unnatural. It's a very different thing. A very different industry. While he is there working for Mark Burnett, he also writes a book. Here is the book he writes. It's called Defying ISIS by Johnny Moore. Came out on April 21st, 2015, meaning it was written, produced, and released while he is working for a reality television show producer. That's what is going on right now. He writes a book, Preserving Christianity in the Place of Its Birth in Our Own Backyard, its own backyard. Christian genocide at the hands of Islamic extremists is unfolding in the Middle East. Entire Christian populations have been eliminated. The ultimate aim of ISIS is to eradicate the world of Christianity. They're well on their way. Thousands of Christians arrive in refugee camps daily as tents can be seen for miles across the countryside of Jordan, northern Iraq, and Lebanon. Churches have been demolished, crosses burned, replaced with ISIS flags, home destroyed, entire communities displaced, religious conversions forced, human torture enacted, children removed, and all in plain sight. What a weird book to write while you're working for the producer of The Celebrity Apprentice. I'll be honest. What a weird book to write while you're working for Mark Burnett. What a weird thing to get involved with. And so I started thinking to myself, like, this is the company. And while he was there writing this book, while this stuff was happening, Andrew Kolvet was working right there with him. So close, in fact, that you'll remember Andrew Kolvet joins the company in May of 2014 and leaves in October 2015. So while this book is being written, while it's being produced, while this Iraq Syrian thing is going on, while that's what Johnny Moore's doing, Andrew Kolvet works at the same company. Like this is apparently what they're working on, or at least it's what Johnny Moore's working on. And we know that Johnny Moore and Andrew Kolvet were close. Because you remember what Andrew Kolvet said about leaving Kairos and going to work with Johnny Moore. We talked about it yesterday. I can't find the link to it right now, but we talked about it yesterday. Johnny Moore recruited Andrew Kolvet away from Mark Burnett and into Johnny Moore's new company, Kairos, which he opened at the end of 2015 or summer of 2015. So he works there just long enough to get involved in the ISIS fight, just long enough to write a book about defying ISIS, and then leaves Mark Burnett after having spent his time writing this book and fighting ISIS, strangely. He leaves to go open a company called Kairos, and the one person he wants to take with him is Andrew Kolvet. So other things were happening, though, in the summer of 2015, because that's when Johnnie Moore leaves Mark Burnett to go found Kairos. That's July of 2015. He's 32 years old at this time. He leaves Mark Burnett to go found Kairos. Now, I do think Kairos is interestingly named. It literally means the perfect, opportune, or critical moment to take action to achieve the best outcome. Apparently, this was the time. This was the Kairos. This was the perfect, opportune, or critical moment. And we know that at this critical, perfect, opportune moment, that's when Andrew Kolvet is recruited away by Johnnie Moore, by Mr. ISIS himself, or ISIS fighter, to go work for Kairos Company right here, August of 2015. That's when he left Mark Burnett to go work for Kairos. Now, what else is happening in summer of 2015? Well, you guys remember June of 2015? Down the golden escalator comes Trump, Donald and Melania Trump. Donald Trump in June of 2015 announced his candidacy to run for the president of the United States. It was a groundbreaking moment. It was a BC AD moment in the Donald Trump story. There's before the golden escalator ride and there's after the golden escalator ride. Donald Trump literally split his life at that moment. That's the Donald Trump 0 AD moment. So that's June of 2015. In July of 2015, 1 month later, Johnnie leaves Burnett to go open Kairos, and 1 month after that, Andrew leaves Burnett to go join Kairos. Summer of 2015 was very influential in this political circle. I want to open up an interview from that month, July of 2015. This is an interview that Johnnie Moore gave in July of 2015, and he gave the interview with a pastor named Greg Laurie, L-A-U-R-I-E, excuse me. You guys may remember Greg Laurie's name. This is the pastor that had the church where Erica Kirk launched her Make Heaven Crowded tour a few months ago. This is the same Greg Laurie. This is also the same Greg Laurie that's being sued for alleged abuse of young people, not him personally, but overseeing an operation that led to young people being mistreated, let's say that, in Romania. Same Greg Laurie. And for some reason, while he's being sued for this very thing, Erica decides that's the campus. That's the church where I'm launching my Make Heaven Crowded tour. But I want to play a few clips of this. Not a lot of it, just a few clips of this interview, because Johnnie Moore gives a couple of ideas of what his mindset is during this time period. These clips are short, like 20 or 30 seconds. I'm not going to play this whole 20-minute video. A couple of small clips from this, but it gives you an idea of what Johnnie Moore is thinking when he founds Kairos in July of 2015, because that's the month this interview took place.
I mean, take for instance, Pastor Craig, the population in Iraq and Syria, right? The Christian population in those two countries alone in the last less than a decade, maybe 5 or 6 years, has declined by over 2 million people. Over 2 million Christians. Yeah. I mean, this is crazy. There are churches in Iraq and Syria that had continuous worship services every single day. They had a service happening for 1,500 years, and almost all of them have been destroyed. Almost all of them have been destroyed. And this is the land of Abraham. Yeah. I mean, there is many Christian holy sites in Syria as in Israel.
Many Christian holy sites as Syria as Israel. There are churches that are 1,500 years old and they're being assaulted. They're being taken out. They're being removed. This is what I mean when I tell you that what we talk about tonight may change, or at least it did for me. This was a difficult truth that I had to come and realize. I didn't always believe this way, but I do now. Andrew Breitbart said you never do anything for one reason. Because if you do it for only one reason, you've wasted the opportunity. You should always have two reasons for doing an action. In other words, if you're hungry, you can eat food. That's one reason to eat. But you should eat for two reasons. You should eat for performance in addition to just being hungry and satisfying the natural hunger. That would be a good example of two things. So I can eat a bag of potato chips and a chili dog, or I can eat for performance. I can eat a high protein, low carb meal that really fuels my body, that can help it perform its best, that reduces inflammation. Like two reasons. I got to do the same thing. I got to eat, but I can do it for two different reasons. When I heard him say that, it dawned on me what's been happening in the Middle East for the last at least 20 years. This assault on Christians in the Middle East, I didn't have the proper context for it until the last few months. Since the start of the Iran war, we talk about it in terms of the war in Iran, the Iran war. It's much more than that. Because while the United States was assaulting Iran, while the United States was going after Iran and bombing school kids in Iran, while that is all happening, our greatest ally is doing something completely other. They're actually invading Lebanon. And they're rolling north in Lebanon. And in fact, Apple Maps has removed the labels from the villages in southern Lebanon. These are ancient Christian holy sites, ancient Christian churches, ancient Christian communities. People whose families have been here literally since Jesus himself walked on earth. And what they're doing is they're just steamrolling the entire area. They're confiscating it. They're just taking it. Anyone who doesn't leave, killed. Anything they leave behind, taken or destroyed. Entire villages, bombed. Wiped off the earth. This is what's taking place today over there. Now, if Johnny Moore is intimately concerned about the assault on Christians in the Middle East, where is he today condemning that action? He's nowhere to be found because he's a liar from hell. And I mean that. He is a hypocrite and a liar. It's not about Christianity to him. It was never about Christianity to him. I will suggest this. All this BS, boo-hooing over the plight of Christians over there that he's talking about is serving two purposes. One, Christian populations were being reduced. That was by design. ISIS was removing Christians. That was by design. It was supposed to happen that way. For one, it reduced the number of Christians in the area. That served the purpose of the people who wanted the Christians gone. Who wanted the Christians gone? Well, who's removing the Christians right now? Two, it rallied the sympathies of Americans to go and do a military intervention over there. So when ISIS moves into Syria and they start assaulting Christians, Americans back home, which is largely comprised of Christians, get all fired up and say, boy, we have to move into the area. We have to take military action. We have to go protect the Christians. We were lied to. I don't know any other way to say it. If we weren't lied to, he should be the person on the front page of every newspaper, the featured guest on every interview, jumping up and down on every opportunity, sitting on X. He's got a very active X feed. We'll take a look at it in a minute. He should be going absolutely ballistic, absolutely crazy, saying those people over there are confiscating Christian villages. They're bombing churches. They're knocking down crucifixes. They're rolling over ancient Christian lands that have been occupied by Christians for 2,000 years. And he's not. He's nowhere to be found. But that was his mindset in 2015. Why? Because you were being manipulated by him and people like him. You were being manipulated into supporting military intervention. That was the goal. Do you remember when Donald Trump ran for office in 2015? One of his rallying cries was, Barack Obama created ISIS. You remember this. He said it many times. And people lost their mind. What do you mean Barack Obama created ISIS? And he went out there, and Donald Trump said, give me the keys to the kingdom. I'll have ISIS shut down in 9 months. And guess what? He did. She cut off the funding. It was as easy as that. Donald Trump came in, stopped the funding mechanisms, and ISIS went away. They just turned their trucks off and walked off. They were done. They had no more support. It was an op. The whole thing was an op to manipulate you into military intervention in these countries. And he goes in a moment and names these specific countries. I'm going to play this. He goes back and he says, oh, this is in 2015. So he says, think back 5 years. He says, think back 5 years. 5 years ago, well, I'll just let him say it. I don't want to give the whole speech, but it gives the game away. All across the world. I mean, 5 years ago, that's where we're picking up.
Years ago, there was one failed country in the world, Somalia.
5 years ago, one failed country in the world, Somalia. Now listen to the countries he names that are failed in July of 2015.
Right? Now, Somalia is a failed country. Syria is a failed country. Libya is a failed country. Iraq is a teetering country. Afghanistan's a
Syria, Libya, Iraq, and Afghanistan. All now failed countries 5 years later. What do they have in common? What is the common theme in all four of those countries? Your government, your United States government, intervened in there on behalf, well, your United States government intervened in those countries, and now they're all four failed states. Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, Somalia, which we also intervened in, and is also a failed state. And he's using this, saying we need to do more intervention. We should be over there and fighting in other countries. We've got to intervene on behalf of the Christians. You were duped. Every one of you. I was at the time. I was duped. I bought it. I bought the lie. Hook, line, and sinker. They got me. They pulled me out of the pond. They got me. They caught me. I fell for this crap back then. I thought, man, these Christians, we got to go save them. No, we were, we should have intervened, but we didn't have to destroy every country we went in. There was another way to intervene that we could have stopped this nonsense. There was a totally other way we could have intervened and stopped this. So what is the answer? How do we solve the problem if you are, in fact, Johnny Moore? What is his answer? Well, you'll be surprised to hear what he has to say about how we need to solve this.
And a lot of us have been silent. That we got to speak up. We got to raise our voice. We got to give to organizations that are helping sustain these people.
What are some good organizations you think to give? You mentioned Samaritan's Purse, and I'm friends with Franklin Graham, who runs that, and we've worked with them for many years with Operation Christmas Child and other things. But what are some other good organizations that are working in that part of the world?
When I got to Iraq, the one organization I found that was at work there was Samaritan's Purse. All the other humanitarian international ones, almost all of them, had left. They left it to the United Nations. And
so his answer is give money to Franklin Graham and other organizations. He's too prideful. I mean, he's too nice to say, give me money. But he's probably representing these groups. He's a PR guy now for Kairos at this time. It's interesting to note that Samaritan's Purse is led by Franklin Graham. Well, what do we know about Franklin Graham? Let's take a quick look at a news story about Franklin Graham and figure out if we can figure out what the hell's going on here in the Middle East, that Johnny Moore, who's taking this tactic, is dying for you to give your money to Franklin Graham.
The Israel Allies Foundation has released its annual list of top 50 Christian allies. And at the top of this year is Pastor Franklin Graham.
Oh, okay. Okay. The number one ally. I get it. Okay, now I understand what's happening. I get it. Now I know what Franklin Graham is. Are there any articles Franklin Graham has written that we can kind of get an idea, perhaps, of what his mentality is, oh, Franklin Graham, don't hate God's chosen people. Nice article there, Franklin. Okay, that's interesting. So now we're getting an idea of what's going on here. What about, are there any other articles written here? Are there any other ideas of who Franklin Graham is and why Johnny Moore is so excited? When asked about whether Trump would support Israel's annexation of the West Bank, remember we talked about that last night, the $100 million donation that Miriam Adelson allegedly gave Donald Trump, allegedly, to allow for the annexation of the West Bank. When asked about whether Trump would support Israel's annexation of the West Bank, Franklin Graham said, it's hard to say which policies will be prioritized if Trump is reelected. However, he noted that after surviving 2 assassination attempts, Trump might be weighing decisions differently, adding, I hope for the best. He hopes for the best. In other words, I hope Donald Trump does permit the annexation of the West Bank. And perhaps the fact that he had a couple of snips taken at him, he'll be a little more eager to cooperate this time. Interesting take, number one ally, Franklin Graham. Interesting take. What else was Johnny Moore doing in 2015? Well, he was working with Glenn Beck again in the Middle East. He goes and opens a new company, and all of a sudden, all he can do is work in the Middle East. He's evacuating 149 Iraqi Christian refugees to Slovakia. Again, what's he doing over there? The idea is to show you pictures like this to manipulate you into military intervention in the area. We'll go evacuate 149 kids. Of the millions and millions we've killed or replaced or displaced, I mean, 149 is nice. It's better than nothing, but I think you're a little late to the party, pal. No, it was a PR op. These are PR guys. The whole idea was to manipulate you into wanting to support military intervention over there. (2017) Johnny Moore. 2017. This is while he's still working with Andrew Kolvet. This is about the time they start pursuing Charlie Kirk. In 2017, he became the youngest recipient of the Simon Wiesenthal Center's Medal of Valor. That is a Zionist award there. The same year, he joins the ADL task force. ADL, as you know, is a radical organization. The ADL Anti-Defamation League, Civil Rights and Social Action Task Force chair for minorities in the Middle East. He joined them in 2017. He co-chaired by the time he was around 2022. Okay, so we're getting an idea of who Johnny Moore is. We're getting an idea of what he's doing through time. 2018. I don't want to. That's confusing. I threw too much in here. 2018 is the first time our good friend is introduced to the prime minister of our greatest ally. Included in the meeting were prominent evangelical leaders like California evangelist Greg Laurie. We just talked about him. He's being sued for misfortunes that befell children under his leadership. Dallas megachurch pastor Robert Jeffress. Former Southern Baptist Convention President Jack Graham, Hispanic evangelical leader Samuel Rodriguez. We'll talk about him in a second. When speaking about the meeting in an interview with the Christian Post Thursday, meeting participant and evangelical public relations executive Johnny Moore said that Netanyahu was able to express his sorrows directly to a member of the Graham family. So that's 2018. Johnny Moore finally gets to meet the big cheese on the occasion of Benjamin Graham's death. Now, here is an organization that Johnnie Moore founded, and I can't figure out what it does. It's called, the website is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. This is the website. You're looking at it. We are evangelicals. The Congress of Christian Leaders is an international association of churches that serves as a global representative for the world's 600 million evangelical Christians. Oh, well, you just appointed yourself the representative voice. Like, did these people vote on you? No, you just filed some paperwork. With offices in the United States and Europe, the Congress of Christian Leaders advocates for causes that are at the heart of the evangelical faith and identity. Johnnie Moore, Samuel Rodriguez. They both look zesty in those pictures, if I'm being honest. What do these guys do? Well, we don't know, because the website doesn't say anything, but we can find out a little bit perhaps when we look at the bio. We already know Johnnie Moore's passion for our greatest ally. Now we can look at Samuel Rodriguez. Rodriguez advocates for the rights and protection of the state of Israel. That's like a topic sentence on his Wikipedia bio. He's been recognized by the Israel Allies Foundation of one of Israel's top 50 Christian allies. 2024, he received the Jerusalem Award from the Friends of Zion Museum for his advocacy. Work has been featured in the Jerusalem Post, covered in the Times of Israel. Used his platform as the president of the National Hispanic Christian Leadership Conference to encourage support for Israel among Christians. Signed the Bonhoeffer Declaration, a commitment to combat anti-Semitism. These efforts have established him as one of the top Latino Christian Zionists in the world. Wow. So that is the face of this organization. These are the two guys that head up this organization. We are evangelicals. No, that's not what you are. That's not why you guys are relevant. That's not why you guys are relevant. That's not why you're being funded. Nothing to do with being evangelical. Also, during 2017 to 2019, while he's working with Andrew Kolvet, I'm not going to pull up links for all this, but he either leads or participates in evangelical meetings with the Egyptian president, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, UAE Crown Prince, the Azerbaijan president, the Saudi Crown Prince, the Sudan Prime Minister, and he is the 2019 World Economic Forum delegate to the Middle East. That's Johnnie Moore. That's Johnnie Moore. That's Cairo's company. You look at their list of clients, and they don't just advertise it. You got to find it out through articles and whatnot. But we have Paula White, who's now on she's bat doo-doo crazy. I mean, she's crazy as a sprayed roach. All you got to do is watch 5 minutes of any interview, any sermon, anything. She is incapable of holding it together for more than 200 seconds. Like, you get past that, she just loses it. She is a nutcase. You got Paula White, that's one of his clients. PragerU, we talked about that yesterday. Zionist PragerU. The Blaze, but we repeat ourselves. And Turning Point USA. So I've given you sort of an idea. This is not a deep dive into Johnnie Moore. This is cursory. This is Johnnie Moore 101. This is survey level Johnnie Moore. We have deep dives available. We will do deep dives down the road, just like we will dive deeper into Andrew Kolvet. But I would be remiss if I didn't remind you, because it was not as important. It was not as profound when we read it the first time. When we read it yesterday, we watched the video a couple of months ago. It was not nearly as profound because we hadn't done the deep dive on Andrew Kolvet. We haven't seen that they both went to work for Mark Burnett, him and Johnnie Moore. They both went to work for Kairos. Kairos is nothing more than an Israeli front organization. That much is obvious. If you look at all they do, that's all they do. That's all they talk about. That's all they care about. And that is the context, ladies and gentlemen. That is the context in which Andrew Kolvet pursues Charlie Kirk. I remind you, this is, again, we talked about this yesterday, but this is back from the New York Times podcast that Andrew Kolvet did with Ross Douthat. And here is, now that you have the context, I want you to listen to this again. Now that you have the context of who Johnnie Moore is, who Andrew Kolvet is, what is their only primary concern? Now that you know that, I want you to now reread this with me and tell me if the approach to Charlie Kirk doesn't make more sense now. Andrew Kolvet, yeah, I'll go back a step. I was actually living and working in Hollywood. That was the Mark Burnett era. I had a job working with Mark Burnett of The Voice, Celebrity Apprentice, Survivor, and Shark Tank. Oh, I'm just a Hollywood guy, man. He was doing these projects, and then at some point he got into faith-based content. I was thrown into the deep end. One day we would be at Jimmy Kimmel. We'd be at a nightly show. We would go to CNN. We'd go to Fox. Then we'd be at church. Oh, just doing the Hollywood thing, broskies. Just doing the Hollywood thing. Mark's chief of staff at the time, a guy named Johnnie Moore. Now we know who he is. We know what kind of guy he is. We know his past. We know his childhood. We know his connection to Jerry Falwell Sr. We know how he rose through the ranks of Liberty University to be personally recruited for some weird reason out of Liberty University, tiny little nothing college, Liberty University, by Mark Burnett of The Survivor, The Voice, The Shark Tank. Mark's chief of staff at the time was a guy named Johnnie Moore. Now we have context. We know who Johnnie Moore is now. Now this interview starts to have color. It starts to have life. Johnnie Moore started a PR company. He asked me to start it with him. Oh, seems so innocent the first time I heard it. Seemed so innocent the first time I heard him say that. I was like, oh, okay. Guy named Johnnie Moore wants you to start a PR company. Big deal. I wanted to write screenplays, actually. Doing the LA thing. My head was still very much in that space. I wanted to make content. So I kind of refused and refused. Well, you didn't refuse long because he started the company in July and you went to work for him in August. So you only refused for like 30 days. And then he said, why don't you just work a couple of days a week? Help me get this thing off the ground and then you can do your own thing. Okay, but what is it Andrew is bringing to this operation? We know who Johnnie Moore is. We know what his interest is. We know his major concern is military intervention on behalf of our greatest ally. I mean, that's just obvious. You just look at his life, and that's all you see. So why did he think Andrew was such a perfect fit? Along the way, we started bringing on conservative clients. Well, conservative is doing a lot of lifting there because I wouldn't call these people conservative. I would just call them foreign interested. PragerU was one of those clients. We ended up bringing on the Blaze. Again, these are just two clients that are interested in our greatest ally ahead of America. That's it. That's all they are. And that is perfectly in line with Johnnie Moore's life mission. I have no idea where he developed this keen interest. I don't know if it was Jerry Falwell Sr., I don't know if it was Jerry Falwell Jr. I don't know if it was Mark Burnett, but along the way, he develops this intense interest, and that becomes his primary concern in life is how can we convince the American public to engage in military intervention in support and on behalf of our greatest ally. And now this line right here makes a lot of sense. And at one point, Charlie came across the path of Johnnie. What passive language Andrew uses there. Andrew's a wordsmith. He's not an idiot. He knows what he's saying. Charlie came across the path of Johnnie in Southern Florida at some event. That makes it sound like Charlie just stumbled into the room and wouldn't you know it, Johnnie just happened to be there. Almost like the Bill Montgomery origin story. Oh, Bill, just 72-year-old guy hanging out on a college campus. I mean, who among us, right? Who at 72 doesn't go to political events on college campuses? I mean, it's just a dime a dozen, right? And if you look at the video from that day, there's only like 20 people there. But Bill Montgomery's one of them. Charlie just came across the path of Johnny, Southern Florida at some event. Wouldn't you know? And Johnny, he said, hey, you should look at this guy. Look into this guy. He's young, but I think he's got a lot of energy. You should contact him. Here's his email. Well, who was Charlie Kirk at the time? Well, we know. We know who he was at the time. He was running an organization that was primarily economic in nature. It was like Milton Friedman organization. That's all they did. They went around the college campuses and they talked to people about economic liberty. It was like the Tea Party for college kids. 2015, 16, 17, you're talking, early Trump campaign up through Trump's election, right after Trump's election. Andrew and Johnny working together. We know the only thing Johnny cares about. We can only assume that's the only thing they handled in-house because that's the only news Johnny made was always related to our greatest ally. Allegedly, in my opinion. And you've got Charlie Kirk who goes out there and he campaigns for Donald Trump and he shows up at Donald Trump events and he convinces a whole lot of college kids to go out and vote for Donald Trump. He earns his stripes. He shows his medal. He shows he has some talent. And Johnny's looking at this guy, Charlie, and he says he's got a lot of energy, got a lot of talent. We've got to intervene. We can't risk this guy getting on the wrong side of our only issue we care about. You should look into him. Here's his email. So what does Andrew do? Well, he reaches out. So I reached out to him. I said, hey, I'd love to talk, maybe working with you. He basically ghosted for a while. Okay, well, that really throws a wrench in the plan. You can't take over his organization, direct it to become a pro-Zionist all-the-time organization if he won't talk to you. We got to have a backup plan here. That's not going to work. Oh, wouldn't you know it? Bad luck befell Charlie. All of a sudden, there was some bad news story where all the media conspired to destroy TPUSA. And Charlie got really desperate. This whole thing blew up on him. And that's when we finally connected. Wow, what fortune for me, Andrew Kolvet, and Johnny Moore, that Charlie finally faced something so awful that he couldn't handle it on his own and he had to bring me in. I got to work with him via the agency for about a year, and then he basically said, hey, I like you. I'll hire you. I'll be your first client. Also, I want to start a podcast, and I want you to help me do that. This is the context in which Johnny Moore and Andrew Kolvet pursue Charlie Kirk. This is the context. All greatest ally all the time. All foreign intervention on behalf of our greatest ally, American foreign intervention. All manipulation, lies, deceit, sob stories. Oh, give money to all this, Franklin Graham, give money to me. It's all a lie. All of it's been a lie. The whole last 40 years of your life has been a lie, by the way. I want to be the one to tell you. I hate to be the one to break it to you. It was not innocent. It was a capture mission. They sought out Charlie Kirk and captured him. He had an influential conservative organization that was gaining ground and momentum with young people. It was 2017. Donald Trump had just won. Charlie was getting stronger. He was getting more influential. And here's the key. He had to be controlled or destroyed. And that's what the scandal with that Crystal girl was about. That's what the racist text messages was about. Andrew Kolvet was the lifeline. You want out of this? You got to join the team. Otherwise, we're going to destroy you. We'll make you, Charlie Kirk, the racist guy. Or you can hire me. You can bring me in, smooth it out. Get the media off your back. We'll turn you into an international sensation. Turn you into a rock star. Your call. Nice organization there. Be ashamed if something happened to it. This was a capture mission. This was the context. All of this was the context. The meetings with the Egyptian president, the UAE crown prince, the Azerbaijan presidents, the Saudi crown prince, the minister of Sudan, the World Economic Forum delegate to the Middle East, the appointment by Trump as the commissioner to the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, meeting Netanyahu at Billy Graham's passing, co-founding the Congress of Christian Leaders with Samuel Rodriguez, who exists solely for that same reason. The youngest ever recipient of the Simon Wiesenthal Center's Medal of Valor, the member of the ADL task force and eventual chair. Working with Glenn Beck on the Iraq to Slovakia refugee mission. The interview with Greg Laurie about failed states. 1 failed state versus 5 failed states. Give money to Franklin Graham. All of this was the context in which Charlie Kirk, which did not have a religious component to his organization, it did not have a religious component. It was an economic liberty organization when Donald Trump got elected. It was an economic liberty organization when Johnny Moore and Andrew Kolvet infiltrated it. And I will say that they infiltrated it. They infiltrated it and took it over from the inside. And that's the context in which Charlie Kirk sent this text message 2 days before he died. Just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied by this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. No, you don't have that choice, bud. You entered the pro-Israel cause as a condition of staying alive. We could have destroyed you back in 2017 when we had you on the ropes with the racist text messages. No. We came in. We got the ship righted. We opened TPUSA Faith. We brought in Erica Kirk. We brought in all these people. We brought in Rob McCoy. We brought in the whole pro-Israel band. You don't get to just walk away, pal. That ain't the deal. That's not the deal. That's not what we're doing here. You don't get to do that. I want to offer here an alternative explanation for the real weirdness of Erica Kirk. Because I think the weirdness is undeniable. Dressing like a psycho, saying psychotic things on podcasts, from sermons, wearing gold Elvis suits, coming out to fireworks, wearing leather pants to meet the vice president. Like, there's admittedly the weirdest stuff you've ever seen in your life. But I want to offer an alternative explanation for all of this. I am by no means, I don't want to be mistaken here. I am by no means saying I am 100% convinced of what I'm about to say. Do not mistake what I'm about to say. But I oftentimes, just like I was not 100% convinced he was electrocuted by a microphone, I was not 100% convinced he was exploded by a microphone up here, I was not 100% convinced that a necklace exploded up into his neck. I mean, what I do is I look for what I think are viable explanations, and then I bring them to you. And I say, what do you think? I want to offer an alternative explanation for her total psychotic behavior. Not a lifeline, not an out, but an explanation. Who is her PR agent? Who's running PR for TPUSA and Erica Kirk? Who's hosting the Charlie Kirk show? Whose idea was it to put her on the Charlie Kirk show in that absurdly ridiculous outfit, making absurdly ridiculous comments last week? It's Andrew. Who keeps running her out at these events time and time again to just fall flat on her face, totally unprepared, or prepared to look like a nutcase. It's Andrew. I had a conversation with someone last week where I said, it's almost as if she's being sabotaged. Like, it's almost as if somebody said, well, we're stuck with her. The only way to get rid of her is to ruin her. So let's just keep running her out there. Let's just keep making her do stupid stuff. Let's tell her the uptalk is great. Oh, you're doing a great job, girl. Yeah. Keep talking up at the end of every sentence. Okay, I guess I will. I've gone back and listened to Erica interviews from 2, 3, 4 years. She didn't talk like that. Someone's prepping her. Someone is suggesting she talk like that. These are pre-records where she sounds like that. Someone is putting her in these outfits and telling her, "Yep, that's great. You should go to the event in that. You should wear that outfit to that event. Oh, this will slay. This is going to be great, girl." Someone's writing these speeches for her that sound ludicrous. I want to offer an alternative explanation for all this, because explanation I've been going on this whole time is she's out of her mind. She's completely out of her depth. She's completely out of her element. She has no business running TPUSA. She is completely unqualified and has no idea what she's doing. That's option one. And there's a big chunk of me who believes that. But I'm not to the point where I think that it can't be fixed. But I want to offer here an alternative explanation. Again, I'm not saying I believe this. I'm just saying I find enough merit to this that it warrants mentioning. If Erica Kirk had not taken over TPUSA, who would have? Who at TPUSA would have taken over? It has to be somebody who's comfortable on a microphone. The CEO of TPUSA, the head of TPUSA, has always been a public face. No one had ever heard of Justin Strife. He's not comfortable behind a microphone. He's not a public speaker. I don't think he would have been the right guy. Tyler Boyer is fine. He's like a drunk frat boy who struggles with weight loss. Like, he struggles to, like, he probably takes Ozempic or something. Like, his weight fluctuates. He always looks disheveled. He looks like he hadn't taken a shower in 4 days when you see him, or he might have been on a bender. Like, I don't think he can cut it either. Blake is ridiculous. Like, Blake is absolutely absurd. I have no idea why they put Blake out in front of anybody, except potentially to make Andrew look better because Blake is sitting there. Blake is ludicrous. Who do you think would want to be the head of TPUSA in that organization? It's Andrew. It's Andrew. I think Andrew thought he's the obvious successor. He ran Charlie's X feed. He was the one working on notes with Charlie 33 minutes before Charlie took the stage, if you remember. Weirdly. He understood how these debates went. He understood what it took to put these events together. He understood the messaging component of TPUSA. I think Andrew would have been the natural selection. Tyler looks like he's a little out of control. Not quite. Tyler just looks immature. Like, Tyler, if he would just commit to growing up, maybe read a few books, he'd be fine. But he's too busy throwing back a Sixer or a Miller Lite every night. I mean, that's kind of what he looks like. I don't know if that's true. I have no idea if he even drinks, but that's what he looks like. Again, Blake's just absurd. He's not an option. Justin Strife is nobody. I mean, he might be perfectly fine, but he's a fundraiser. I mean, he's not a face of an organization. Andrew's a good-looking guy. He can speak on a microphone, and again, he understands the prep that goes into these things. I think I had to ask myself the other day, if they made an emergency change tomorrow, remember when Erica said, I need to take a little time off with my family? If they made an emergency change and said, we need a new public face of TPUSA, we have to make a change at the top. We need a new CEO. I think they would have to pick Andrew. I think he's the only one that would make sense. Bring in Andrew. He's already well known. He's part of it. He's been on the Charlie Kirk show. He was the co-host. He was the substitute host. Now he's the co-host of the eponymous program. I wonder. I mean, I really am starting to wonder, knowing what I know about this op to get in and take over TPUSA. And that's what it looks like to me, that Johnnie Moore and Andrew Kolvet plotted to get inside of TPUSA and flip it into an organization that supported Johnnie Moore's political ambition, to his political position. Now that I think that, now that I believe that, I just have to wonder, is Andrew Kolvet sabotaging Erica Kirk? Is he intentionally making her look stupid, making her look dumb? Now, that's not to let her off the hook. That's not to, I mean, she's a big girl. She can make her own decisions. If she thinks someone's making her look dumb, she needs to cut him loose. She needs to fire him. She needs to marginalize him, get him out of there, get him away from the, but it doesn't change the reality of what I believe he's doing. I think he is I'm starting to believe he is intentionally sabotaging Erica Kirk. You should cancel that appearance at the last second. That'll be a great idea. And then we'll tell everyone you're scared. And then we'll make sure everyone knows you were actually there. And then we'll shame them. And we'll make sure we alienate the people who should be your biggest supporters. We'll be so weird to Candace Owens. We'll be so weird to Tucker Carlson. We'll make sure they distrust everything you do. That's a great plan. It reminds me of something that happened in the immediate wake of Charlie's. If you recall, immediately after Charlie died, according to Candace, in the immediate wake of Charlie's death, Andrew made a very weird statement about her and Tucker Carlson that you guys need to watch out. You're on the same list Charlie was on. In other words, back off. Or you could be next. And apparently, if Candace is to be believed, and I do believe her, he said it was supposed to be you. Meaning, you anti-Semites, one of you was going to get taken out. And I just assumed it'd be you. But it happened to be Charlie. And so here we are. Now we got to recover from this. You should lay low. And if you put all this in the context, now, am I saying Johnnie Moore and Andrew Kolvet were Charlie Kirk's handlers? No, I don't necessarily view it that way. I think they were bad actors who invaded and did a hostile takeover of TPUSA without Charlie's knowledge. They totally flipped it over, probably came up with an idea, oh, you should do a faith component. You know, that's what happened when they went to work for Mark Burnett. They opened a faith component. You should do a faith component. That'll give us an opportunity to get involved with our greatest ally and all that. This is why I didn't want to put a cutesy title on today's show. Because this is too serious to me. This is too serious to try to put up some weird cutesy title and then try to like be flashy with this. This is cap and gown stuff. You have to understand Johnnie Moore and Andrew Kolvet. I still haven't addressed the 20-month gap that Andrew Kolvet had directly before he went to work for Mark Burnett. I still haven't addressed the gap where Andrew Kolvet was living in Kenya and living in UK. I haven't addressed any of that. We'll do deep dives on Andrew Kolvet later. But I wanted to put Andrew Kolvet, since we went so hard after him yesterday, I wanted to put him in the context of where he was working immediately before what I believe is a hostile takeover of TPUSA from the inside out. And turned it into an organization where if Charlie Kirk was to text someone to say, I have to leave the pro-Israel cause, that he would not survive it. Because that's who these people are. That's who they are. Through and through. We think about people like J.E. of the Files fame. We think about the prime minister of our greatest ally. Think about the president of the United States and what he's become. Think about Johnny Moore. Think about Andrew Kolvet. Think about Glenn Beck. Think about all these people that this is like their life's mission is to support the greatest ally. And it raises an inevitable question of who is pulling the strings. Who is the one pulling the strings? Who is the marionette? Who's the one? We like to think the prime minister of our greatest ally is pulling the strings here in the United States. I don't think so. Oh, is Johnny Moore and Andrew Kolvet, are they pulling the strings of Erica and Tyler and Charlie? I don't think so. I want to say something dark here. I don't think a human is pulling the strings. I think these people that are co-opting Christian language and the trappings of the Christian faith in order to produce what I think is a decidedly anti-Christian message, I don't think they answer to a human. I think they answer to something far darker. I don't think they answer to anyone in flesh and blood. I don't think anybody in flesh and blood is capable of pulling this off. I think this is so dark. This is a spiritual war. And Charlie was a physical casualty of that spiritual war. He recognized the spiritual nature of it and was trying to get out of it. He recognized the side he had been supporting was demonic and dark and evil, and he was trying to distance himself from it, and they killed him. I believe that with all my heart. And it is so twisted. It's so terrifying. That's what we're fighting. When we're fighting for who killed Charlie Kirk, how, and why, I think that why is the darkest evil humanity can face. I think it's demonic. I think it's Satan himself. I really, genuinely, 100% believe that. That's the why. There could be some temporal explanation of why, some political why, but I think ultimately it is a satanic why. Charlie was turning his back on the Prince of Darkness, and he was removed for it. He was killed by supporters of the Prince of Darkness, by the people doing his bidding. And I know it sounds crazy if you're not attuned to it. That's why I needed to do this show before I could even say it. I think that's why he's dead. That's the battle that's being waged. It's being waged. Their side is cloaking themselves in the language of Christianity and the ordinances and sacraments. I don't know what, I know Baptists call them ordinances, Catholics call them sacraments. I'm sure I'm not knocking other faith traditions. I don't know what they call them. But they cloak themselves in this sacramental language, in this ordinal language. They cloak themselves as if, oh, we've got to save the Christians. No, you don't. No, you don't. You know how I know that? Because there are Christians being slaughtered at this moment, and you're not saying a damn word about it. Not one word. Johnny Moore, where are you decrying the death of Christian communities in Lebanon? You're not. You are a fraud, and there's no light in your soul. You are satanic. You claim to want to save Christians when it's in places that you want a U.S. military intervention, and you don't want one in Lebanon. Because it's your Lord, Johnny, over there rolling over Lebanon, killing Christians. It's the one you serve, Johnny. Or you would speak out against it. Can't be a hypocrite, Johnny. You can't decry the Christians being killed in Syria because you want military intervention in Syria, and decry the Christians being killed in Nigeria because you want military intervention in Nigeria, and decry the Christians being killed in Iraq because you want military intervention in Iraq, and decry the Christians being killed in Afghanistan because you want military intervention in Afghanistan. And now they're decrying the Christians being killed in Iran because you want military intervention in Iran. There are Christians being killed in Lebanon, and you haven't said a word, Johnny. Not a word. Not one word have you said. Fight that. If you're serious, if you're stable, if you're godly, fight that. Because if you don't, I don't believe a word you say. I think you serve the Prince of Darkness because you're a hypocrite. You're a liar. Told you it was going to get dark at the end. I told you it was going to get dark. I think that's why he's dead. I think that's why Charlie's dead. That's all I can say. All I can say. All right. I got to get out of here before I say anything I regret. I got to get out of here before I say anything I regret. So I appreciate you joining me today. Hit the like button if you've liked this dark, dark ending. I did not intend to get this dark. My notes were much lighter than this, but I was taken by, frankly, the Spirit right there to tell you what I truly believe about what's happening over there. What I truly believe about these frauds who have been manipulating American Christians for 40 plus years to go over there and do the bidding of demons. That's not me calling individuals over there demons. It's not me calling a race of people demons. It's not me calling a religion demons. It's not what I'm getting at. What I'm saying is demons would love Christian populations destroyed. And they're actively being destroyed. All right. Yeah, hit the like button, subscribe, click notifications. Tomorrow, I haven't decided if I'm going to do a member show tomorrow. I will let you know by the morning. If I am going to do one, I'll put up a notification. I'll put up a post or something. I'll put something on X. I'll put something on YouTube and let you know if I'm going to do it. I'm trying to get in touch with somebody who is going to expand on what we talked about last week during the member show. I don't know if they'll do that, be available tomorrow or Friday. I will let you know. If I don't put something up by like 10 a.m., there will not be a member show tomorrow, and it'll be kicked to Friday. Could even do 2 member shows this week, one on the Baal room and then one on maybe a lighter topic. We'll have a little fun on Friday and get a little weird. But I will let you know. I'll let you know one way or the other how that's going to work. Then I'll be back Wednesday night for the regular show Wednesday night. We'll have a lot of fun then. It will not be as dark and dreary as this. I already know what topic we're going to talk about. We're not talking about demons, I promise. But this was, I thought, an important show. I think you have to put the invasion of TPUSA in the context of what Johnny Moore and Andrew Kolvet were doing in 2015, 16, and 17. Because if you do not, you cannot understand why Charlie Kirk is dead. That's just where I stand. That's where I stand. All right, let me get through some of your comments. Some of these comments are going to be pre-darkness and may not jive with the way the show ended, but we'll get there one way or the other. I promise. I promise. Could the Brian Hartpole lawsuit be used just so they can get discovery from Candace on what she knows and who's feeding her info? It's such a weird lawsuit. There has to be ulterior motives. I've addressed this, I think, in the past. I don't know how that would work because it has to be relevant. Discovery has to be relevant. It has to be relevant to the claims or the defenses of one party or the other. Candace's defense is going to be this is truth. What I'm saying about you is true, or it's opinion, one or the other. I mean, those are kind of the two major defenses you would use for defamation. And how would who her sources are have anything to do with either one of those? So I don't know that that's possible. I don't know that's possible. Will Candace be required to stop speaking about the case on her show if Brian Hartpole's suit goes forward? No. Also, by now, wouldn't they have deleted any incriminating texts? Can those be recovered in a civil suit? Perhaps, and I don't know. I mean, those are your answers. Perhaps they could have. Can they be recovered? I don't know. That would I think be difficult, but possible perhaps. Look into Burnett and all reality TV atrocities staged. Baron, what picture did you have in the top middle before Trump's? It was there on your November 24 podcast regarding elections. Thank you. You are the best. That was Ronald Reagan and Pope John Paul II. That's who was in that picture. I thought about putting it back up. I still have that picture. It's still in a frame. It's ready to go. All I'd have to do is move the nail down a little bit. But I felt like this made a better point. It was Ronald Reagan and Pope John Paul II because, again, the theme here is people who were despised by the establishment. And both of them were. 5 Membo gifts. Thank you. Thank you. We celebrated our 25th last week on a road trip through Utah and Arizona. He solidified his place in my heart by asking if Barron had any new shows to listen to on our drive. If CK was my hubby, I would seek truth. So let's separate those two parts. Part one is your husband sounds amazing. Absolutely amazing. Part two is, yeah, I think a lot of people would. I think anybody trying to shut down the investigation into into the death of Charlie Kirk is doing the bidding of darkness. I'm sorry. I had a very heavy, dark soul today. Very heavy, dark feeling in my soul while prepping the show today. And it came out at the end. I tried to hide it. I did not intend to let it out. Over the target and on point with Burnett, an all-staged reality TV atrocity. Burnett is the tip of the Titanic iceberg. Look into all coincidental occurrences. Duly noted. Mark B., first job nanny for wealthy real estate businessman, Jaeger. Started night he landed, referred by friend Nick Hill, first super chat, longtime listener with my husband, who will stay up till 2 if he has to. Justin, great. Allison, I appreciate that. I did look in today, actually, a little more to the Jaeger family, where they came from, what they were involved in. Let's just say they would have loved Johnny more. Very much the same political stripes as Johnny Moore. But not Christian, but would love his foreign policy. Barron doing the Lord's work today. I'm trying. Jerry Franzwe's daughter, Deborah Hemsel, website Hemsel & Associates, states she wrote a weekly expert column for USA Today on The Apprentice, talent acquisition for major networks like Universal, and adjunct professor at ASU. Thank you. Appreciate that information there. Barron, I've been a sub since 3,000 subs. Love your show, and I was giggling at the comments during the opening theme song. Loved it. Yeah, I had a little fun today. And so I had this dark feeling hanging over me, and while the theme song was playing, I saw these great comments, and they were lifting my spirits. And so I thought, I'll just throw them up on the thing while it plays. Why not? Why can't you guys have as much fun as I'm having? And it did. It lifted my spirits. So thank you guys. Got a new member. Just want to say I love your show. Go Max. Thank you. You and Candace are the dynamic duo. Seriously love your show and your heart. Hi, Mama. I know you're watching. Hi, Heidi's mom. That opening song, I love it. I hate it's been stuck in my head for 3 days now. I've been humming, whistling, and singing it nonstop. Ugh. It's called an earworm. And I love getting an earworm. I just go with it. Lean into it. If AK is intel, the establishment will protect him, much like JP was covert opt out of prison. Who's JP? Especially if, since AK's ties indicate connection depth, much like JE or TR, as a patsy isn't worth that degree of protective effort. Yeah. I agree with that part. Thank you for that. Very generous. And it's like my comment on X today. I've been smiling all day. I can only imagine how awesome, blessed you feel every day being her friend. It's amazing. Yeah, she's a great person. She's it's been a true delight of my life getting to know her. Genuinely. I genuinely mean that. She's been great. But Baron, new member here, been listening for months. Shout out to my 12-year-old baby girl, Ruby Roo, who just finished her softball practice. We both love you. Keep up the great work, sir. Christ loves us all. Ruby Roo. Throw him fast, hit him far. That's how you play softball. Run fast, throw fast, hit fast. Hey, B, I was telling a friend how much I learned listening to you, and they asked what? All I can think of is nanny goat is a female. He just says things. That's what you can tell him. I don't know. He just says things. Never know what you're going to learn. I hope that what you learn is how the world works. That's my goal. We'll use this case. We'll use other cases that come down the road to examine how the world works. For example, Tonight we learned we've been lied to for 40 years, and this is what really happens in political organizations. I wonder if Joe ever took that logic course and got unstupid. I doubt it. Can't fix stupid. You're the best. Christ is king indeed. Thank you, Baron, for being the best humble host. Yes, the best. Hold on just a second. I got to show you something. You said Christ is king a second ago. This was on the research. I just didn't get to it today. This is allegedly a serious scholarly work. Network Contagion Research Institute, the Congress of Christian Leaders. We just studied that. NC Labs at Rutgers Institute of Politics. So you have this thing, Thy Name in Vain, how online extremists hijacked Christ is King. This whole article name drops Candace like 10 times, but it talks about how people are using the phrase Christ is King in a negative way. Look at the authors. Lee Jussum. You got Jordan Peterson, Johnny Moore, Joel Finkelstein. Joel Finkelstein is going to tell us when it's appropriate to say Christ is King. Jacob Zucker is going to tell us when it's appropriate to say Christ is King. Danette Finkelstein is going to tell us when we're allowed to say Christ is King. Sonia Yanofsky is going to tell us, Christians, when we can say Christ is King. Alex Goldenberg is going to tell us, Christians, when we can say Christ is King. Gideon Ferrer, Ohad Fadita, Simon Lazarus, Anisha Jagdeep. The only two Christians I could find on here were Johnny Moore and Jordan Peterson. This is what I'm talking about, guys. This is what I'm talking about. This was presented as a scholarly piece of work. I would submit to you that only those two are Christians and the rest are not. It would be like seven Baptist pastors and a rabbi getting together to decide when Jews could talk about Hanukkah. Well, that's Baptist. That's probably a bad explanation, actually. Baptist these days. But you understand my point. Like, why don't Christians decide when we can say Christ is King? Why are we referring to our greatest ally and their supporters and their religious majority? Why are we counting on them to tell us when we can say Christ is King? That was the scholarly output that was used by media outlets to tell us that we're not allowed to say that. I'm over it, guys. I'm over it. I'm absolutely over it. I think I read that. Thank you, Short Coin. We miss CK. He's a martyr for truth, or we'd still all be lied to. So sad it took his death to open our eyes. God bless. I agree. Johnny 2 times. Veronica 1 time. Maybe it's me, but I can't be the only woman who does not think AK is handsome. I do prefer the burly blue-collar dust on real boots. AK is not worth writing home to mom about. I love y'all. You're saying he's gay? Or pretty boy? Or metro? Or whatever the term is? I don't know. I think he's handsome. He's a good-looking guy. I think he's... I don't want to say what I really was about to say right there. He's attractive. Objectively, he's an attractive guy. He may not be your type. Your Majesty, I am mortified. I sent a super on my midnight walk, and to clarify, last night's show was unbelievable, not unbearable. I saw that. Damn autocorrect, so sorry. Your loyal Icelandic ambassador. Well, that's funny. I know a lot of people can relate. My stomach dropped when CO mentioned Mikey. I trust her, but not sure if she should have put his name forward. Well, she did. People make mistakes. I mean, she could have made a mistake by doing it. I don't necessarily agree she did. But it rocked the world, I'll tell you that. L Ranger tune. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Oh, Lone Ranger. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Here's 5 Membos for you guys from TJ Kirk 8260. Asking for prayers for my son who's diagnosed with scoliosis. He's a freshman and kids are mean and I don't want him to be made fun of. He has a twin brother, so he does have support. Love you, my B. Love you too, my B. Twin v twin. I'll pray for him. Is it the kind that needs surgery or can he like physical therapy his way out of it? Or some people just learn to live with it. Just watched Lord of War with Nicolas Cage, a 2005 movie based on true events about an arms dealer. It's worth watching. Some good insight in it. Christ is King. Thank you. Duly noted. Keep up the good work. I'm doing my best here. Thank you, Lake Life. Is Liberty University the training center to pick from? I remember you saying, stop telling your kids you can be anything you want. This is not true. These people are picked. Yes. Yes, they are hand selected. I was not going to go dark enough to tell you how they get hand selected or what the initiation is. It exists. Geofenced, I replied, see Candace, Zach, etc., and got bot replies. Then said, see Baron Coleman, the bot mentioned you and argued you made it. Well, it's because it's AI. You know how you can tell it's AI? Ask it to write a Python script for you. I bet you get one. I know Johnny Moore sounded familiar. We have a John Moore plumbing service here in Houston, so I guess the joke writes itself. What a crappy job. Actually, plumbers are great. That is a vital profession. I'm going to do something while I read comments. I just got to notice that I got to take care of something. It's a vital profession. I jokingly said that about it stinks. And that this really has to do with the joke about toilets. But an absolutely vital profession. And so, but I understand the jokes write themselves. The jokes write themselves. Oh, and I got to add something to this. Yeah, I figured. Oh, please. I got to do something for the merch account. If you've not jumped on there and bought merch, we have some new stuff up. I think Nurse Casey put up a new t-shirt today. Somebody asked for some specific t-shirt or something, so it's up there. I'll go look at see what she put up, but I had to take care of that. I got a notice from on my phone. You mentioned Jim Brinkerhoff a few times. Known his wife Mary since our teens. Jim passed away suddenly in 2013. He had finished the race after impacting untold numbers of college students. I was at his funeral. Jim Brinkerhoff baptized me November 16th, 1998. And I was at his funeral, and the number of people there that he had impacted was unbelievable. He is a truly decent and good man. A truly decent and good man. And I'm glad to know that. Mary's great, too. Mary worked there. Did she work? Yeah, she worked there while I was there at Auburn. Has anyone reached out to you since yesterday from TPUSA? I will forever be grateful to you, Candace, Ian, and Tucker for your research. Christ is King indeed. Bless you all. If they have, I haven't gotten it, but I haven't looked at my email either. Something that Mikey will sashay away from TPUSA at Blakenef speed. Put his phone to his ear. Hold, please. Call Barron and come over to the high IQ light side with us. Well, after that ending for that show today, I can't talk about the dark side. We're the light side guys. Edge, good sir, could you please elab on MM's troubled life? Yeah. Probably not without getting a defamation lawsuit from his dad. Baron, I just want to say thank you so much for keeping the language clean. I often catch up on your show while driving the kids to school or appointments, so that's huge for me. I did let a D word slip today. I got a little heated, but I kept it clean-ish, so I apologize for that. If Charlie was alive today, Trump would have turned on him as well. I agree. I 100% agree. Charlie's the reason Trump is president. I watched him cry after they announced him as the 47th president. He worked so hard for Trump. I agree he would have turned on him. especially if he would have walked away from the pro-Iran war cause. I love you, Johnny, 2 times, but it's the Ohio State. My son's name is Tressel. It's the Ohio State. Go Buckeyes. Are you talking about 2003 national champion coach Jim Tressel? We always had the best darn band in the land. Now we got the best darn team in the land. That Jim Tressel? I watched that game. I watched it with Mrs. Coleman in a hotel room in Key Largo, Florida. Who's catching stray 5 tonight? Oh, I almost sent one out, and then I caught myself. I almost sent one out. I caught myself. Good catch. Good catch. My newborn's going to think the intro song is her lullaby as much as I sing it all day, especially at 2 a.m. Nothing like rocking your baby to sleep singing RBP. Yeah. Going to be a brilliant kid. Crap, I'm late again. Still recovering from last night. Good Lord, what are we in for? Yeah. It got dark tonight. Cleaning, cooking, and laundry is not something I usually like doing, but listening and hearing from the grand jury makes it so much better. The soundtrack of my life. Love all of you. I had this conversation with my sister-in-law was in town. We had a family event this weekend, and she came into town for it. And I was talking to her about housework. And she was like, how do you get motivated to do stuff? And I was like, well, like if the kitchen needs to get cleaned up, I just put on a podcast. And then I just say the only way I can do the podcast is if I'm doing something beneficial around the house. And so I clean the kitchen, or I pick up the bedroom, or I make the bed, or I hang up the clothes, or, that's the only way I can do it. They're like, that's my reward. Not allowed to listen to podcasts sitting around. Got to be doing something. And then all of a sudden things get done. A Baron Great show last night. Do you think MA Methadone Clinic is the new MK Ultra experiment? With a lot of the super chat last night, some of you need to read Chaos. Highly recommend. I do highly recommend Tom O'Neill's book, Chaos. If you've not read it, it's required. It's absolute required reading. Tom O'Neill's book, Chaos, if you've not read it, is required reading to understand this program. I don't think it's the new Ultra. I think it is I don't know what it is. I'm scared by it. Related to the Moors in Tulsa, Oklahoma that do printing for TPUSA, $1 million contracts in 2024, tax filings. Weird if not. EK in Tulsa in 2014. I don't think he's related to them, but I don't know. I don't think so. And she was there chasing some boy, baseball players. Andrew Kolvet, why are you so fake and gay? Also, took a few classes at Pepperdine in 2018, and they still trying to get me to formally enroll to this day. I bet they are. Liberty University seems to keep popping up with TPUSA and company, EK, Tyler Boyer, and Johnny Moore. Coincidence? No, not a coincidence at all. It's for real. And Pepperdine. Those are like the 2 schools that have something to do with all this. Never thought as a jaded lefty McLeftist that I'd end up subscribed to you and Candace, but here we are. What a time to be alive. P.S. Going back to Mass Sunday, first time in years, Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Just soak it in. Don't get too caught up in the moment. Just soak it in. Just watch, observe. You haven't been in a while. Refamiliarize yourself. It's changed a little bit. We changed some of the translations in 2011, the end of 2011 or into 2012, one or the other. So some of the responses are going to sound a little different, but just enjoy it. Just go and soak it in. Baron, imagine my shock last night watching your podcast and realizing that Johnny Moore was the guest speaker at our church earlier yesterday morning. I had no idea who he was till you explained. Guess we'll be church shopping. Well, it tells me a lot. I mean, I'm not saying you need to leave the church over it, but it makes me wonder. Baron, please let Happy Hairdresser know to look up Dr. Anthony Chafee YouTube episode. Woman shares she's in remission from Huntington disease through strict ketogenic diet, praying she sees it. Wow, I hope she sees it too. I had no idea. Thank you for sharing that. 4 things. 1, as a Jew, I can assure you the elite have a long-term plan. They saw CK changing and nipped him in the bud. 2, keep exotic technology in the back of your mind. Okay. 3, Christ is King, indeed. 4, I can't get over the Wolverine frog. I still have nightmares about the Wolverine frog. I wish no one had brought that up. There are things we shouldn't have to know in this world. No human needs to know about a frog whose claws can break through its skin and swipe you or grow chunks of hair randomly. That's weird, guys. Keep that stuff to yourself. Next deep dive, Liberty University on the agenda. Thank you, Vic. Took over the family TV to play your podcast tonight. Everyone, like and subscribe. Happy Monday. I highly recommend that to everybody. Just put the podcast on and let it roll for the whole family. Fun for the whole family. What if EK grew to love Charlie Kirk? Despite sus meeting relationship and the same forces that killed him are controlling her now, causing mental break thoughts. You know, my original thought was, and you guys all in the chat hated me for this, but I kept saying, what if she's just scared to death? Like, what if she had nothing to do with this and is just terrified and has to feel like she has to go along with it? I don't think that anymore, but I did at one time. And I wouldn't fault someone for thinking that. Johnny's got a creepy vibe voice. That's one way to put it. That's not what I thought when I heard it. If you're mistreated by Christians as a child, you will hate them as an adult. Wow. But bear on. Barnes on Candace. Viva Fry basically went scorched earth. Habitual liar makes supporters look foolish. Christ is king. It's Barnes. That's all I got to say. Thank you for research and truth. Spiritual discernment is such a gift for those of us that seek truth, an absolute enemy to everyone else. Thank you, Baron. You're welcome. Thank you. Official Fetty Slop is back. Religion was weaponized as a vector for the empire building of, is it real? And we were used, all of us. Yeah. Yeah, that was my point tonight. We were used. Your entire life has been a lie. Every foreign policy objective of the American government since most of us have been born, unless you were born like in the 19-teens, and even then, it's all been manipulated for one reason. All of it. Keeping CK in charge, scared enough to stay in line, was likely ideal goal. CO attempted exactly 1 year before. TCCOCK, someone had to be removed to scare the rest. Candace, it was supposed to be you. Yeah. I think you just nailed it. Like all of it. That's the whole show in a nutshell. Wait, why did Johnny Moore's profile image look so much like Andrew Kolvet in that Greg Laurie interview? Wow. You've been on for the last few weeks. Love from Knoxville, Tennessee. Christ is king indeed. I didn't notice that, very victorious. Let me pull it back up and look at it. I can pull it to that same exact second. You talking about the first clip I played? Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. Profile. I don't think it looks like him. Maybe. I don't think it quite looks like him. That's close. I don't know. Can't tell you. I wish I knew. My GP committed the Piper kidnapping and murdered my entire family in front of me, and I spent 9 years in 42 foster homes, and it taught me Christ is king always. Thank you. Your GP, like your general practitioner, your doctor, Piper kidnapping and murdered your entire family? What in the world? The 1972 kidnapping of Virginia Ginny Piper, wife of prominent Minneapolis CEO, was a notorious Minnesota crime involving $1 million ransom, the largest in U.S. history at the time. Taken from her home garden, she was found safe 2 days later in Jay Cook State Park, chained to a tree. Despite convictions in 1977, suspects were acquitted in the second trial, leaving the case largely unsolved. What, dude? That's seriously top 3 craziest super chats I've ever gotten. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sorry, obviously, very sorry that happened. But that is crazy. Crazy. Christ is king indeed. Johnny Moore looks like Andrew Kolvet's relative. Why are people saying this? But I see that there's similarities. Hello, Baron. It's my daughter Hannah Meinhardt's 17th birthday today. She is in her first year of college, pre-law, Also a podcaster, loves the show. Please wish her a Baron happy birthday. 17 years old today, meaning she was 16, already in her first year of college, and a podcaster? Save some success for the rest of us. Holy mackerel. You don't have to accomplish everything. Some of us would like to accomplish stuff too along the way. Congratulations. Happy birthday, Hannah Meinhardt. That's crazy. Thank you, Leslie. Christian communities in Iraq, Syria, Libya, etc. were protected by Saddam Assad. We destroyed those layers of protection in the name of Zionism, destroying Christianity on purpose. Yeah, that was the whole point of my show. You just did my whole show. Thank you. And people like Johnny Moore and Andrew Kolvet work for places that support it. Good night, guys. You did it all. Thank you. Thank you. Flying home to Seattle from Fort Lauderdale a week ago, I was watching your podcast, and a lady next to me pointed at my phone and said, "He's great." Made my day and wanted to share with you. Christ is king indeed. That is funny. That is funny. That made my day. Thank you for sharing that. I was at a baseball game with my kids, I don't know, a week ago or something. And a couple weeks ago now. This woman walked up. She was visiting from another town. You know, they came in to play our team. And she walks over and she goes, "I like your show." And I said, "Hey, I'm incognito. I got a baseball hat on. I got a baseball jersey on." She's like, yeah, I recognize you. That made my day. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I love your passion and sharing the truth with us. I had no idea who Johnny Moore was. May God continue to bless you, your family, and Daisy. I haven't missed a show since September. I will say this. When this started, I had no idea who Johnny Moore was. I never heard of him. I've only heard of him in the last few months. Looked into him and I thought, this guy sucks, in my opinion. Allegedly, in my opinion. No wonder these countries hate us and want to harm us. I, too, was duped. It wasn't until I got laid off in September, started watching all my podcasters, started learning the truth. I'm 68, and my whole life have been lied to. Thank you, B, Ian, Candace, Nate, etc. Yeah, it's a tough feeling to come to that realization. It's a hard conversation to have with yourself. A lot of us kick and bucket for a while. 13 years sober today, can't believe it. Love your show. Christ is king indeed. I can believe it. You look strong. Thank you. You look happy. You got a beautiful smile on your face. Congratulations on 13 years. 13 years in one day starts tomorrow. Every day. Got to fight it every day, friend. Johnny Moore being recruited by Mark Burnett to help with faith-based productions or content. Doesn't seem crazy if Johnny has a 4-year degree in religion, or did I miss something? Yeah. So like 400,000 people in America have a 4-year degree in religion. He lives in Virginia, in Lynchburg, a little small town, works for a little small college in administration. That doesn't sound crazy to you that a Hollywood producer is just pursuing this guy like crazy? Like, oh, I got to have him. I got to have the comms guy at Liberty University. Not Notre Dame, not Boston College, not Pepperdine, not any of these other Christian universities. Liberty. Not anyone else at Liberty. Johnny Moore. It sounds nuts to me. I'll just be honest with you. It sounds nuts. Hollywood does not come knocking on your door. There's like 1,000 people that would have, there's 10,000 people that would have rather been Mark Burnett's chief of staff. They're probably more qualified. Sounds totally crazy. Donnie, but no offense. Well, Big B, I'm going to say if there's ever a time for that saying with a little extra flair, it's now. Our real eyes are realizing all the real lies. Thank you, Candace, TK, and more for keeping it clear. Real and high IQ for us. Christ is king indeed. Raging Stormclad, I love. Realize. Thank you. As an American Jew, just as horrified as the rest of y'all by our greatest ally, I feel compelled to apologize on their behalf. I promise most of us don't support any of it. Hey, most of them in their own country don't support it. I mean, the guy was facing an internal revolt when October 7th happened. He's not very popular at home. I won't lie, I'm a vet and I feel sick. You were wrong that it's a heavy episode. You weren't wrong that it's a heavy episode. Yeah, I know. I tried to warn you. Hi, Baron, are you aware of AK's work in Kenya? If not, keyword search from past trips in your email if you keep them. It was something called Global Angels. Yeah, I've looked into it a little bit. I've got some information on it. Yeah, there were he was there and he was in the United Kingdom, and he's been very coy about what he was doing there. Thank you. Lucy, thank you. Baron, my research links Mark Burnett and Johnny Moore through Liberty University via a Son of God film preview partnership. Duly noted. Thank you. Thank you. Baron, I'm so thankful for your coverage on the whole Middle East fiasco throughout the years. I wish your show would reach all Americans. We need to focus on Lebanon. The state of Voldemort is out of control. God bless. Now, I'm sorry. What's happening in Lebanon is just destroying me. Like it's why I'm so angry right now about this topic. It's just destroying me because all these people who have been gaslighting us for all these years, acting like, oh, we got to do it to save the Christians. No, you don't, because it's happening right now and no one's saying a word about it. Like literally no one's talking about it. Now's your chance. Now's your chance, MAGA Inc. Now's your chance, conservatives. Now's your chance to go on TV and say what's happening in Lebanon is a disgrace. And you won't do it. You won't do it. Thank you. I wish Ian would make a buyer app for politicians. List who all their owners are, maybe by state. The only way I could see a grassroots movement take off and be effective. Christ truly is king indeed. I don't think that would be terribly difficult to do. You could probably vibe code that pretty quick. All that information is publicly available. You just have to scrape it. Hey, Baron. The wife wanted me to ask you if you could please offer Christ is King Indeed shirts in either a light blue, red, or green, please. Definitely wanting to buy some. Keep up the great work. Nurse Casey, we have a request for new colors. Hopefully we can take care of that. Thank you. Share the hell out of this for Baron. Publicity is protection. Thank you. Oh, no, not Frank Graham. You're killing me tonight. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Frank. Do you know new $1 billion mega fortress? U.S. Embassy in Lebanon, 10 times bigger than in London. Second largest in the world after Iraq, 43 acre, 5,000 steps. Oh, imagine that. Imagine that. Baron, I have a suggestion. How about a master class on your Southern judge impersonation, a.k.a. Foghorn Leghorn? Thank you for all you do. Christ is King. Wow. You can't give away all my secrets. Gotta have something that's mine. Can I have one thing? Can I just have one thing? Did they bury Charlie Kirk or did they cremate him? I got to know that. Can I have that one thing? Can I have that one answer? Did you guys cremate Charlie Kirk? Feels almost mathematical what we are coming upon reading your simulation idea. We're focused like ants building a hill. If we peer into that focus, eventually the whole blueprint becomes clear. Good call. Our greatest ally plays the long game, just like with pagers. What was that, like 10 years? Yeah, it was. And there was no guarantee that's the only ones in existence. Always been sus on the grams. Love my merch. Christ is King. Christ is King indeed. TPUSA was infiltrated long before they reached out to Charlie. Oh. You're saying before Andrew and Johnny reached out to Charlie, TPUSA had already been infiltrated. That's possible. That's possible. I'm willing to allow that. But I don't think it was infiltrated on the scale that it was infiltrated when Andrew showed up. I'm late, but is DJT the connection between Moore and Burnett? DJT does have a history of picking randos to jobs they're unqualified for. I don't think he is. I do think it was not a surprise that he showed up at the same time. Last 40 years, a lie in a nutshell. Baron, you wipe the film off our eyes. Christ is King indeed. Keep going, Max. I'm doing my best. Was Charlie naive? Not because he wasn't smart in this scheme? I don't know if naive is the word I would use. I think the word, not naive. I think Charlie thought he could control it. That he could roll with it. It wouldn't get out of control. I mean, look, a lot of Christians believe in all that stuff. They don't see the depth of it. They don't see the They don't see the demonic aspect of it. They just were taught this their whole life, and Charlie probably heard this his whole life. This is what good Christianity is. And so he was going along with it, and then all of a sudden he stepped back and thought, that doesn't seem right to me. And then he's dead. But I feel like I'm living in the Truman Show. I'm sick of all this, but I'm so thankful for people like you who are dedicated to exposing it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Baron, go Ying Max. Let the world know. Shine light into the dark on the darkness. I'm doing my best. So AK is the root of all evil. Figures. Wow. AK is a willing puppet being marionetted by darkness. But yes, I think so. I always wonder if he'd figured out some of this, and that's why he was offed. So horrifying to think about that he was scared before he was taken out. Thanks for all you do. Christ is king. He obviously was scared. He was reaching out to people saying, I think they're going to kill me. Allegedly. I mean, that's what we're told. How can you not be scared? He's going to disappear so fast after this, we're going to start calling him Andrew Corvette. Oh, I don't think so. I think he wants the job. I don't think he's going anywhere. Lori Cardozo-Moore, bring her in for question. Speaking of bat doo-doo crazy, sprayed roach territory. She is crazy as sprayed roach. She lives near me, I think. Or did. She's nuts. So where in Florida did they meet? Because I have questions. Who introduced them? That matters here, I think. Those are all great questions. I wish I knew. Southern Florida. I'll say this. I used to live in South Florida. Nobody calls it Southern Florida, so I have no idea what he's talking about. Thank you, sir, Baron. Andrew's statement to Candace that it was supposed to be you or Tucker has an entirely new meaning to me now. Same. Thank you. What if AK is sabotaging her and she is watching you and changing her behavior and actions? She would do well to watch. She would. She'd do well to watch Candace, me, others. Frankly, and realize that she's being destroyed. Baron, much love from a Nashville native. Could Jesse on Fire be onto something and CK is expecting CO to be his David to figure out the truth? Christ is king. Much love and many prayers. I don't think so. I will say what Jesse on Fire has done, whether he intended to do this or not, I think he's done an effective job of it. He's proved inadvertently that it is far more believable that Charlie Kirk faked his own death than it is that Tyler Robinson planned and executed him by himself with a 30-06 from the Losi Center. And that I think has been beneficial. Sounds like what happened in Ukraine. E. McCoy's GPA's book came out just before USA coup there. He's connected to more. Greg Laurie and that South Korean pastor. E. McCoy's grandpa's book. Oh. Yeah, I think he's a fraud. I don't believe anything they say about that man. I basically agree with you. What about Stacy? She's allowing it. If EK needs to succeed for TPUSA to succeed, then why trash her? I agree that she is trash, but who would be next in line? AK? He has shown he can't manage. Let me use this opportunity because I've waited for the right opportunity to say this. People keep bringing this up. They keep beating around the bush, but nobody's been as direct as you about it. If EK needs to succeed for TPUSA to succeed, that assumes they want TPUSA to succeed. Why? Why does TPUSA need to succeed? What value, what benefit does TPUSA bring? And I'll say it this way. Much has been made this week and last about Daily Wire's revenue collapse, the viewership collapse, the layoffs. And there was a really astute observation on X somebody made that, well, they got rid of all their good talent. Like Brett Cooper and Candace Owens were all they had. Nobody's tuning in to watch a guy ride around on a midget horse for 45 minutes a day. So, but people were tuning in for Brett Cooper. She was wildly popular. They got rid of her. They were tuning in for Candace Owens. She was wildly popular. They got rid of her. And what they were left with was a corporate structure that was extremely heavy in overhead and no real talent to support the revenue demands that the overhead required. So if you're paying $20 million a year, but you're only making $10 million a year, you're burning through almost $1 million of cash every month. I don't know what their numbers are, but they were losing money, clearly, or they wouldn't have been laying people off. But what the departure of Candace Owens and Brett Cooper proved was you don't need that corporate structure. You don't need that overhead in order to succeed with the messaging. Candace leaves, goes to her house, fires up a Mac Mini, and starts making podcasts and becomes wildly successful. Millions and millions of downloads every day. Brett Cooper leaves, fires up a Mac Mini, becomes wildly successful. Millions and millions of downloads every day. And without the overhead, you don't have to make nearly as much money in advertising and all that kind of stuff because you're carrying relatively little overhead. And I think TPUSA is much the same. Charlie Kirk was carrying tremendous overhead for what they were accomplishing. And going around on college campuses, you don't have to have 750 employees at the end. You don't have to have 750 employees to go to a college campus and give a speech. You're like 10, maybe 20. You don't have 750 employees to help out with some campaigns, 40 or 50, all you need. What the hell are all these people doing? Well, now Charlie's gone. And so if I'm TPUSA, do I need TPUSA? If I'm one of the donors, do we need this gigantic megalithic structure? No. Revamp. Let it collapse. Now, I think from Andrew Kolvet's perspective, he would like to head up TPUSA, so he doesn't want it to collapse. But if you're the donors, why do you care if there's a gigantic superstructure with 1,000 employees? All you need is somebody to go out there and say how great the greatest ally is. Redeploy those assets. I think we'll see something like that. I can't guarantee it, but I think we'll see something. Johnny Moore, AK, pushed negative PR to make CL need their services. Charlie Kirk, you mean? Yeah, I agree. That's what I think happened, allegedly, in my opinion, but I think that makes a lot of sense to me. Itzhak Rabin was in Dallas, 11/22/63, with 7 to 8 associates as the deputy chief of staff for the IDF. After JFK was offed, Rabin left Dallas that same day in a hurry, telegramming the U.S. State Department he was cutting his trip short. Is that true? I've never heard that. The first I've heard of it. The surname Kolvet is Eastern European Yiddish, meaning to cover or to protect. Look it up. Okay. Kolvet, surname. My goodness, you're right. Wow. Okay. I had no idea. That certainly adds a wrinkle. Same guy who said an executive told Candace to look into AK 2 weeks ago said yesterday, consider the fact that Candace might be protecting Erica. Same guy who said an executive told Candace to look into AK 2 weeks ago. But that's not the story. So Mikey McCoy allegedly told Candace to look into Andrew Kolvet, but I think that took place like in December, November. And who said yesterday? Don't be cryptic in your emails. Just say it. When you say same guy, just tell me the guy's name because I have no idea what you're talking about. Odd thing about Franklin Graham, he diverted from what his dad said in an audio tape with Nixon about the regular Jews in the synagogue of Satan. Yeah, so I think all right, this is a big story you've uncorked here. I do remember that audio tape. Within 10 years of that audio tape, Franklin Graham had completely reversed course. I think it was probably put to him, hey, bud, you want to stay relevant? You want to keep being famous and do crusades all over the world? Better tighten up. Craziest sprayed roach. Yeah. It's true. AK set up CK. Is EK playing the game to survive? That's what I'm wondering. Looks like she's being Britney'd. Yes. Good call. I don't know that, but I mean, that's a good analogy. Where do you think Stacy fits in this picture? Appreciate your thoughts. Christ is king indeed. I don't know. FedSlop. You think cells are set up in several industries wanting to get positioned into whatever influence is needed? Cells are set up in several industries. I don't think it works exactly like that, but I don't know. I don't know how it works, but I don't think it's precisely that way. And as quickly as Charlie started sabotaging war in Iran and directly speaking with the president that he had to be removed, it looks like a deep, dark plan. Yes, you nailed it. Listening to Sherlock and Agatha in real time. I take that as a compliment. Thank you. My B. Every RBP show is fire. Seems to me that Crystal's racist texts were planted to create the controversy and usher in a case so diabolical. I will say something about that. Crystal's racist texts that were so horrific. You know where she went to live after she left TPUSA? Clarence Thomas. Noted black man. So obviously he didn't believe it. Like if Clarence Thomas really believed she said those things, do you think he'd be like, oh yeah, come on in. Love to have you at my house. Or if she really believed those things, you think she'd say, yeah, I'll go live with you, Clarence. I mean, so why did Jack Posobiec leave after Charlie Kirk? I really like how you put this together and look forward to each day. Christ is king. Well, did he really leave? I don't know. I can't get over the Kolvet name, origin, and meaning. I keep looking at it thinking it's going to change. I don't know about Jack. Jack weirds me out. That's all I can say. Maybe the idea is to tire everybody out on Erica so that when Andrew finally steps in, people are just glad to see her gone and they don't question him. They knew it would be hard for people to do without CK. There's a darker thing. That's like best case scenario. I think the far darker plan would be to also remove her and then try to use it to take down Candace. That would be dark. That would be dark. I hope to God that's not true. I hope she stays really safe. I mean, she's got kids, man. Kids. But I know what you're saying. Etch, if AK is undermining EK for his own gain, has he not noticed the utter failure these past few months of his management? It's a far cry from CK, and he can certainly handle his puppy, Blakey boy. Well, I think he's doing a good job. If I'm right, and I don't know that I am, but if I'm right and he is trying to destroy her, he's doing a great job. Couldn't do a better job. We need the connection with Johnny and Tiny Ben. It's the real beef he has with Candace. They couldn't seek BS on the team with the world watching. Couldn't sneak BS on them. Man, BS has the best initials. He's the most appropriately initialed human being on the planet. Yeah, I don't know if there is a connection between BS and Tiny Ben. They serve the same master. Here's a connection. One group of people who've been against Christ since he walked on earth. They used government to kill their enemies. First Rome and now us. Allegedly. Andrew and Stacey Sheridan sabotaging EK. She would be more influential over EK dressing poorly and so forth. Could be. I don't know. I don't know how to clock Stacey. Interesting theory about Andrew takeover and possible manipulation of Erica, but I agree with Edge that it's time for a deep dive on Stacey Sheridan. Can I be honest? She scares me. Let me tell you what happened. So I'm talking to a buddy of mine, this guy I've known for a long time, moved in political circles a long time, and I mentioned Stacey Sheridan. He goes, who is that? I was like, man, you don't know who that is? You're not following this case very closely? He's like, yeah, I kind of follow it. And I was like, she's the blonde lady who's always around Erica. He's like, only one I can think is like the really old woman that's always around her. I was like, bro, I think I'm older than she is. But it tripped me out. Let me look here real quick. Yeah, she's like in her 40s. He was like the really old woman that's always around her with the really short haircut. And I'm like, I think she's 44, 45. I'm like, yeah, she's not that old. She's kind of young, actually. Tripped me out. Dude, you're blanking brilliant. Oh, thank you. Hard to buy. Andrew is playing 40 chess and that Erica is unaware. Well, I admitted it. I didn't say it's a guaranteed solid gold fact. I said I've considered it. And I've considered it enough that I think it's worth mentioning as a possibility just to get your feedback. This is good feedback. That's one of the reasons I did it. Thank you for the PLN bucks. Honestly, could we trust anymore? It's a tad depressing. Also, what was the tipping point for you deciding to leave your job? You definitely have a higher purpose. Thank you. Christ is king, Hannah. Christ is king indeed, Hannah. The tipping point for me deciding to leave my job was a really good question. I felt like what we were doing was becoming important to the conversation, and to the extent I felt like I had something to offer this conversation, and it had an audience willing to listen to it. I wanted to be able to provide that. But when I woke up at 6 and started working around 7:30 or 8, and then work until 11:30, eat lunch, go to the gym, come back, work from 1 to 5, 1 to 6, try to put a show together in an hour, 2 hours, come on the air at 7 o'clock, stay on the air 2 or 3 hours. I mean, it was becoming too much. So I had to make a decision, one or the other. It was not a full income replacement at the time, but I felt like it was I don't know about higher calling. I just felt like it was like I had something to lend to the conversation. I wanted to do a better job of it. I wanted to spend more time prepping and more time for, putting on a show. Yeah, good question. Thank you. Excellent and insightful as always. My sister and I always watch. Please tell Daisy we miss her on the members videos. Still LOL about the toe boxes. Keeping your family and CO in our prayers. Thanks. Thank you. I appreciate that. I've had guests on the last few weeks. It hadn't really worked to have anyone on. Don't believe for any of this. Don't believe for any of this. I don't know what that means, but let me keep reading. AK, Mikey, TB, EK are extremely shady. Speculating on their internal dynamics is an overkill. What will put this all to rest is a picture of EK at Fort Huachuca, or 910 Alibi. So those are two different issues because she was not alleged to be at Fort Huachuca on 910. 910, the question is, and I disagree with the first part. I think it's valid analysis to look into the past of the people surrounding Charlie Kirk when he died. I mean, so I fundamentally disagree with that. The 910 alibi was she at Hopkinton Airport? Was she at the doctor? Was she with her mom? Was she alone? Like that's unbelievably, we still don't have an answer to that. Somehow, nearly 7 months later, 8 months later, we still don't have an answer to that very simple, fundamental question. The Fort Huachuca thing is the couple of days leading up to it. So that's different. This is a very hard show. I'm crying in repentance for believing this BS back then. Our Christian brothers and sisters are being slaughtered and ancient Christian sites being erased from history. I'm so ashamed. It's a hard truth to realize that this is happening, and a lot of Christians support it. A really fundamentally difficult conversation when you come to that realization. How do Andrew, Kolvet, Cabot, Phillips know each other? I mean, do they? If they do, it's through politics, probably through TPUSA. If they knew each other before Charlie, I don't know. I was unaware of that. Got an eyelash or something. It's killing me. If they knew each other before Charlie, I don't think I was aware of that. I don't think I knew that. So if they know each other, I would assume it's through Charlie. Oh, please. 1 month member here. Truly giving us more possibilities to think through. High IQ group. Love you all. Thank you. Thank you. Very kind. Counselor, I believe your hypothesis is not only plausible, but highly probable. Well, again, once it reaches a threshold of like, this could be something. This might be something. I like to bring it to the folks because we have a very high IQ outfit here and get your feedback. Let you guys do some research. Let you guys think about it. I know there's several people that are starting podcasts. I do read some of your emails. I get your emails, say, hey, I'm starting a podcast. I get a notice on X. Oh, I'm starting a podcast. I love that. I love that. I long for a day when like everybody podcasts like they do on Facebook. And I mean, some people are going to do 5-minute shows and 10-minute shows and 30-minute shows and 60-minute shows. They'll be different. They'll cover different topics. They'll have a different feel. They'll have a different flavor. You don't have to have a $2,000 camera and a $1,000 microphone set up and a $5,000 soundboard and lights and all that. Just turn your dadgum laptop on and start talking. If it takes off, you'll have time to invest in equipment, and then you got to get duplicates of everything. You got to have 2 computers and 2 cameras and 2 mics. Because if something goes down, you got to be able to back up. There's time for all that. But everybody likes to do these little micro podcasts on X. Do a 2-minute video and put it on X. Do a 5-minute video and put it on X. I know people do it on TikTok, but I'm talking about like, not that. I don't like that. I don't like when people talk on the car like this. That's not my thing. I don't listen to a lot of those. But if somebody's sitting in an office and they're like, hey, I got something to get off my chest, and they just start talking, I'll stop and listen to a lot of those. We've had several, like Bays, Danks. These are people who are like making waves. Brandy, Billy, these are people who are like becoming a thing. Doing really good research, really good shows that really captivate me when I tune into them. These guys weren't broadcasting, I don't think, before Charlie passed. You don't have to be a 20-year broadcaster. You don't have to be a political. You just fire up your computer and start talking. Ivan does a good show. Holy doo-doo, Baron. You did it. Love your fellow spiritual light warrior. Thank you, Shellbell. Hi, Baron. So crazy how inflated we are. Family member of mine religiously watches Glenn B. Always has. I only offer truth through love. Christ is King. No offense to your family member, but your humble host did pass Glenn B on the Spotify ranking. I think I was up to 35 this morning. I think Glenn B was like in the high 30s. Let's see if that's still up. Let's see. No offense to Glenn B. I'm sure he's great. He's not. I shouldn't say that. That's ugly. Yeah, there, 35, and Glenn B is 43. Take that, Beck. I kid. Yeah, having fun over there. Spotify's been a great partner. Great partner for us. Sent you an email in October. Andrew gives the friend in the movie Ghost that had Swayze killed. Jealousy is demonic. Wow. Ghost was a cool movie. Hey, got our high IQ outfits. Thanks. Christ is King. I actually got myself a RBP shirt today. Actually, I got my purple hoodie in. I'm going to be wearing that on the next member show. And I got my black long sleeve tee in. I love them both. But I'm told if you wear your own clothes, you're narcissistic. That's what I'm told. 9/19/2025, AP News with Graham. Charlie Kirk's AI resurrection ushers in a new era of digital grief. Dream City Church, Arizona, and Awaken Church, San Marcos, California. That's creepy. Don't AI dead people. Let's just let them rest. Great freaking show. Take a stand, brother. Christ is King. Thank you, Sean. Just a thought. Could it be that EK is being forced? Maybe blackmailed, threatened, and not duped? Truth is always about something, but reality is that about which truth is. Oh. Could be. I said earlier I would continue to pray for AK, but I really feel like he sold his soul to the devil. Yeah, I get that feeling too. That means we should pray even more, though. Fort Huactua did not involve Andrew. Pointed at Erica specifically. An op theater. Is Mitch Snow real? JMJR recent ties are ex-military and USACOM. A Fort Huactua link there. Who's JM Jr.? Oh, Johnny Moore. Recent ties are ex-military. That's an interesting point there. Let me check in on that Johnny Moore connection you just mentioned. Baron, curious to know if you still think AK has a conscience. Thanks for another wonderful show. It's definitely all spiritual. I think everybody has a conscience. Everybody has a soul. I just feel like some people are so compromised, it's difficult to reach them. I'm kind of starting to feel that's where he is. That's the best Baron crash out yet. Preach it. Oh, was that a crash out? Didn't feel like a crash out. Another amazing episode of Baron Going Max. Time for a real push for 300,000 subs. My wife and I are regular viewers, subscribers on YouTube, Grumble, and Spotify. We will give 50 memberships if RBP gets to 300,000 before the end of the next live episode. Wow, that's an amazing offer. Let me see where we are on that. We got a long way to go. We got a long way to go, people. But hey, if you've ever wanted a membo, now is the time to go subscribe, and maybe one will fall on your head. Where are we exactly? What's the exact number? Yeah, we got 8,000 plus to go. Be a big lift. But TJ, I believe in you. I believe in you. Thank you. That's very kind and generous offer. Erica caught in potential frame. No grief. May be manipulated. Definitely spiritual war. Jesus is in control. Pray. Rose-colored glasses removed and gone. Thank you, B. Yeah, it's tough. Anthony Aguilar worked for Johnny in Gaza. Christ is king indeed. Anthony Aguilar. Oh. Have to check that out. Thank you. I honor you through tears for your godly prophetic voice. Thank you. Oh. Amen, Brother Barron. Amen. Jesus is Lord. Christ is King. Thank you. Christ is King indeed. Amazing show, incredible research. Keep it coming, Barron. Let the light shine. That's the goal. Woodrow Wilson's White House was invaded and infiltrated by British intelligence through his top advisor, Edward House, and his connections to Brit Foreign Secretary Edward Grey and head of Brit Intel and the U.S., William Wiseman. World War I. That's an interesting set of facts there. Thank you for sharing. It's very important to understand what you said at the end of the show about who's calling the shots. The people running the world are controlled by very dark forces that are most likely not human. That's the most important lesson I think we've shared on this program to date. I'm definitely more intelligent after all your shows, but this one really rattled some cages. The webs they weave. Gone Max. Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. Bingo, Baron. I do my best. Thank you. Baron, you're on fire and your spirit is so precious. Thank you for what you and your team do. What an awesome wrap up. You brought chills. Thank you. Very kind. Hi, Baron. I didn't think you have any idea how God is using you to help people open their eyes and turn back to God. Thank you. Yeah, I can't think about that. I mean, I can't. Like, I would be a terrible preacher. Like, I would be the worst priest in America. I can't think like that. Like, I just prep a show, say what you think, and let the chips fall where they may. But thank you. Tucker interviewed Lieutenant Colonel Tony Aguilar about Moore's Gaza humanitarian org. Interesting connection to IDF, and it's a total scam. I am tempted to believe anything Johnny Moore is involved in is a total scam. That's what I think of him. I think he's a total, unadulterated fraud, in my opinion. I think he is. I can't say for a fact he is, but the guy, everything I've read about him in prep for this program, he strikes me as a total scam artist. That's why they all say the Lord instead of Jesus or God. Their Lord is Satan. Wow. Christ is King indeed. Keep going, Max. Great show. Thank you. And I don't disagree. First super chat. Johnny Moore is allegedly a 33rd degree Mason. It's allegedly. I've never heard that. Didn't come across that. Baron Father Ripburger says St. Joan of Arc is Satan's nemesis. That's Candace's confirmation name, and she has a relic of her. Christ is King indeed. I saw that. I thought her say that today, that she now has a St. Joan of Arc relic. Don't think I'm not going to walk in there and try to make a third-class relic out of it. I got some holy cards I want to get up on the reliquary. I'm just saying. Hey, one of the coolest things I'd ever been to was there was a tour that came through Middle Tennessee, and it was St. Jude, a piece of his arm, a piece of the bone of the arm of St. Jude. like an acquaintance of Christ, piece of his arm, came to Nashville, came to Franklin. We went. I have a picture of my son looking very pious in front of it. Beautiful. Best episode ever. Praise Jesus. Thank you. What a show, Baron. It was mind-blowing. You're so freaking intelligent and articulate, and Daisy is too. Thank you for your hard work, and I mean it. I'm an atheist, but I want to pray for you. Please do. Please do. Yeah, Daisy and I, that was a tough show to put together. There was a lot of research that went into today's show. Gifted 10 membos. They could fall on your head any moment. Andrew could not be at the shooting. If he would have been, he would have been looked at much sooner. He's known what he's doing the whole time. I did find it interesting when Candace said on her show that he typically went to those types of events and just didn't happen to be there that day. Amen, Baron. Satan is 100% behind their actions. Let's not forget Erica has her own evil history with Einstein and the orphanage. She's embracing the evil. It's in her eyes. I will admit, people are very disturbed by her, myself included. The reptilian or satanic explanation is actually one of the few that makes sense. Mundane human motivations don't mesh with coordinated, sustained evil over generations and generations. Yeah. You think about the level of evil it would take to pull off what they've pulled off in the last 150 years in this world. I mean, how many Christians died in World Wars I and II? 9 figures, 100 million plus. The sustained, coordinated, planned evil across decades, across continents. You couldn't pull that off with people. Satan hates Christians. His tools, they hate Christians because they're doing the bidding of him, the most evil entity that ever existed. The fact that the Messiah, that people believe and revere and honor the Messiah, put their faith in the Messiah, that the Messiah will come again to conquer evil once and for all, they can't stand that. They've orchestrated the death of 100 million or more Christians, I bet, in the last 150 years. Through war, genocide, and it continues. It's happening right now, and Johnny Moore's not saying a word about it. Not a word. So true, so very obviously true. God bless you and your amazing work, Baron. Thank you for helping us see the truth and light for Christ's sake, and much more importantly, Christ our King. Thank you. Very kind of you. Thanks for the nudge, Mikey. It's for you, Mikey. Last 2 days is for you, Mikey. Pope John Paul II, hand-down winner of the wall spot, in my humble opinion. Yeah, if you watch some of my old shows, that was Pope John Paul II and Ronald Reagan up there. They were sitting on the couch. I didn't know that any of them were still online. Keep shining the light on this darkness. Great show, Baron. Christ is King indeed. Explosive night. You spoke what everyone needed to hear. Thank you for being that voice for truth right now. Scary times ahead, but we know the ending. Christ is King indeed, and that's how I sleep at night. If I didn't know the ending, I would not be able to sleep. Bravo, Baron. Just got a job so I can finally super chat. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, and congratulations. Congratulations. Fab Content LLC. Thank you. Very kind. Asked you in the past, but do you now think that maybe CK is not as innocent as we think he is? Perhaps he made immoral decisions with his donors, and once his conscience aided him, he wanted out. It's crossed my mind. Crossed my mind. I'm having real deja vu right now. Weird. Like being asked this question and answering it with these exact words. It's crossed my mind. That he gave in for a little while and he was like, whoa, I'm out. I want out of this. And then they're like, no, that's not how you did. That's not how it works. Revelation 3:9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, who they say are J people and are not, but do lie. Mikey, be your own man. Mikey, be your own man. Come over before too late. Yeah. Ephesians 6:12, we have to know the enemy we're up against, true evil and darkness. Charlie was trying to do good in this world. I'm heartbroken. Christ is king indeed. I agree with that. Hi, Baron. The comment about Franklin Graham made me question, are there any public spiritual figures trustworthy? His father, Billy, was an inspiration to me. Yes, there are. I'm not going to sit here and name them, but I have several that I think are trustworthy. For the rehanging of the Reagan and Pope picture, count me one vote. Oh. Interesting. Hi, Baron. Don't think you have any idea how God is using you to help people open their eyes and turn back to Him. Last part of your presentation really touched my soul. Thank you. Oh, gosh. Well, how humbling is that? Thank you. That's what I'm saying. I can't think about that. I'm glad obviously, very glad you're having those thoughts, but not because of anything I said, but because Christ touched your soul. But thank you. I can't, when I'm prepping, I can't think in those terms. I can just tell you what I think. Daniel 2:21, he changes times and seasons. He deposes kings and raises up others. God is in control. We can have peace in this. Nothing under the sun happens that does not work towards his purpose. I agree with that. Today is my first birthday since my dad's unexpected passing 6 weeks ago. Your show has been a bit of normalcy that's kept me going. Just want to say thank you. Christ is king indeed. I'm terribly sorry for your loss. Happy birthday, as happy as you could possibly be. I know that's got to be tragic. I'm sorry to hear that, genuinely. But thank you for sharing it with us. Andrew setting Erica up is old news, but I agree. I did not know it was old news. You inspired me to start my faith journey. I decided reading the Bible is a good place to start. I recently bought a KJV Bible. What's a more readers-friendly version that you would recommend? So Zach Costello and I had this conversation. I like the New American Bible. Very readable. I think it's pretty faithful translation. He likes the NABRE, New American Bible Revised Edition. I think they're both great. Got some other ones. There's the Revised Standard Version. I have a copy of that I like. Oh, this is NABRE. So both of my NABs are NABRE. NABRA. That's the ones I like. I mean, there's a lot of good ones. But KJV, I admit, is very difficult to read. Very difficult to read. If you're not trained in that grammar, it's going to be tough. So, some of the words are outdated. The syntax is difficult to follow at times. Some people love it. She sounded the same in her EMP video with the CIA director, too. She's an actress. She's acting. She was inserted to keep in line. Come on, Baron. I'm not saying she wasn't. I was just raising the possibility. That's why I said I almost didn't even want to say it. But I wanted to at least raise the possibility and get you guys thinking. That's good feedback. Thank you. Yes, and thank you, brother in Christ. Jesus said Jesus, no man, when he hath lighted a candle, covereth it with a vessel, or putteth it under a bed, but setteth it on a candlestick, that they which enter in may see the light. Christ is king indeed. That's what I was talking about with the woman before. The King Jude, it's beautiful. It's very poetic sounding, but it's difficult to read at times. But thank you for sharing that beautiful scripture. I think AK told CO that all that info in the beginning to scare her. I agree with that. Hoping she would be more worried about her safety. Boy, were they so wrong. Christ is king indeed. So one of the points Jesse on Fire keeps making, and it's a good point, is that you wouldn't do this without Candace being in on it. Meaning, pull off his theory. I think they miscalculated by thinking they could scare her away. I don't agree with Jesse's theory, but I think they miscalculated by thinking, okay, well, if we pull something off and we have to remove him, we'll just isolate her and Tucker by scaring them. It did not scare them. I made a very similar realization last night. A spiritual war is happening. They're trying to bring upon the coldest winter and are falling apart as they watch good prevail. 100% on the Matrix analogy. Correct. We've got to keep praying. Got to keep doing good. We love you. Christ is king. I love you more. Christ is King indeed. Looking zesty. They were. Tell me. Pull that website up and tell me I'm wrong. It's a zest fest. Come on. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Not wrong. I've been wrong about a lot of things. I'm not wrong about that. I think you nailed it, and thank you. First time commenting, but long time viewer. Best on YouTube. Christ is King. Indeed, thank you. Appreciate that. After your thesis, you called JM a Christian. Nope, missed the mark. And no, AK is no looker, strike two. You guys are hard on Andrew. I got bad news. If you guys don't think Andrew's attractive, the rest of us are doomed. Doomed. I think you're giving AK way too much credit when you say he's setting up EK. I think CO has a point when she says AK is not a good PR person. I think EK just comes across badly. So again, it was a hypothesis. It's one that I thought merited feedback. This is good feedback. I'm not suggesting I know it's true. I also think he's a bad PR person. That's a better explanation, in my opinion. Yet okay for Catholics to say when can say Yeshua. I don't know what that means. Yet okay for Catholics. I don't know what that means. I wish I did, because I want to give you feedback, but I don't know what it means. Jordan Peterson is agnostic at best. He denied Christ, plagiarized the Bible, used it to create his own school of thought. Not a Christian. Please take it back. Oh, okay. Duly noted. Duly noted. I just meant he wasn't Jewish. Like, he was the only one on there. Like, him and Johnny were the only ones that weren't. Praying a hedge of protection around you and your family. Thank you. Appreciate that. God bless you, Baron. Keep going. Max. Christ is King. Indeed. Thank you. Jordan Peterson is not a Christian. Look into it. Duly noted. I'm starting to hear that. I just meant he's not Jewish. Cultural Christian. Isn't it possible Erica's in on the plan to get Andrew into the CEO position? Maybe she's a better actress than we give her credit for. That's a great thought. That's why I want the feedback. That's why I put stuff out there to get feedback. Thank you. 3 of our 4 kids have given us 15 grand. That's amazing news. I have been promised 40. The 4th is a Nashville Dominican. Is Johnny Moore the same as the head of the Gaza Relief Group? Yes, Christ is King indeed. He is, in fact. A Nashville Dominican. The Dominicans are great here. Very great. My wife loves going over to the Dominican Mother House. In fact, the Dominicans will go around the area, and to kind of impoverished or underserved parishes, they'll put on their VBS program for the kids. And it is so good for the kids to see these nuns in habits, or these sisters in habits, out playing soccer, throwing Frisbee, dancing around. It's fun, man. It's fun. My kids have gone to a lot of the VBSs that they put on. It's great. Great. I believe there's something demonic behind all this for a while now. I agree with you. Keep going. I'm going. I'm not going to stop. Research here is remarkable. My B. I have no clue how you put this stuff together so fast. That scene where the light falls in Truman Show. This info gives those vibes. Yeah, I agree. Thank you. I don't know how we do it either. Any night shirts yet? Hold please, or I'll allow it. Not yet. Not yet. We've not rolled out new merch yet. Except I think there is one new piece on the website that was put up today. Let me look and see what it is. There's one new piece that went up, I think, today. I'm not sure what it is, though. It's one of the ladies' shirts. One of the ladies' tailored shirts that come in at the waist and have the V-neck. I'm not sure which one is the new one, though. I've got This Is a High IQ Outfit, Christ is King Indeed, and the RBP shirt. I think the RBP might be the new one. But yeah, we're slowly adding to the merch. Slowly adding to the merch. But we got to just roll out, a little bit at a time. Can't put new things up every day. 10 membos falling from the heavens. Thank you. Jordan Peterson's no Christian. Duly noted. Duly noted. When directly asked if he believes in God or is a Christian, he said, I act as if God exists. He says he finds the idea of fully believing in Christ terrifying. It is. It is terrifying. Think about it. Terrifying in a good way, but it is terrifying. Great podcast tonight. I've been thinking this for quite some time. It's a spiritual battle. Christ is King indeed. What I mean by that, I don't want to mislead people. I thought of this when Candace made her point today about she got confirmed over the weekend or last weekend. And then all of this stuff hit her. This nonsense with her husband. I don't know if you've been following it, but people are making all these allegations about her husband, making all these allegations about her house, releasing, getting sued, and all this attacks and all this. And the terrifying part of following Christ is you become a target. You come under attack. And the more you lean into the sacraments, and confirmation is a sacrament, the more you lean into the sacraments, or again, I think the Baptists might call them ordinances, the more you get involved, the more under attack you are. Like the demons are losing you. They owned you, and now they're losing you. And you come under attack, and it's terrifying. But Christ gives you the strength to survive and to thrive. And eventually they give up on you because you're too holy. But you got to live it. Baron, connect the dots. Hitler, Lenin, Stalin, BB, acting like Hitler. They're all mortal. They all have a shelf life. Satan is the power behind all evil. Satan is the puppet master of all. Good call. Christ is king indeed. Go Max. Oh, man, you could add 100 names to that. Look into the IMEC corridor. This is your why, like starting a war we had intended to lose, and the need for the weak, BK, and more, why there's so much money for bribes. Don't know what you're talking about. Rather than telling me to look into it, I wish you'd just tell me what it is. India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor. Aims to bolster economic activity by fostering connectivity and economic integration between Asia, the Persian Gulf, and Europe. That's the why. I see what you're saying. They have to get Iran out of the way. Is that what you mean? Hey, Baron. Hey, Arizona Girly. This is crazy. Charlie's whole career feels like a long con with TPUSA. Currently, I'm shocked they haven't tried to get a reality show going to try to make EK and AK look better. Isn't that kind of what they're doing by keep trotting her out there? And trotting him out there on the Charlie Kirk show to flail to 200 live viewers every day? Blink twice if there have been any tips of an affair between EK and AK that's come from inside TPUSA. That could be a strong tip. Too many coincidences now. I will say this. I have tried to find that tip, and I've talked to people, and I've pushed and I pushed. I've heard nothing. And I mean, I've pushed, and people that have come to me trying to trash TPUSA from the inside, even they have said, I don't know, man. So it's not that I haven't asked. I just haven't heard anything. Do you want my research on Johnny Moore and his associations to maternity homes? I've done a deep dive on the one my daughter was in, and he was affected with it, which made me panic as a mom. Yeah, so instead of asking me, just say, here's what I know. Look, he was connected to this maternity home and this maternity home. Here's what happened. I'd be happy to review it. Almost dropped an F-bomb. I caught that. Yeah. I got so carried away. I was so disappointed in myself for letting it almost come out. Love the show, Baron, fellow Hoosier and F1 fan. The rule changes made for a better race yesterday, yeah? I only caught the highlights. I watched the 10-minute condensed version. But yes, it looked like a much better race with the rule changes. So maybe I'll come back in full force next week. But, man, I've been so hard on them. The rules were so bad the first few races. But, yeah, yesterday looked pretty exciting. I've not watched the whole race yet. I just watched the highlights. F1, Formula One or FOA. Is it FIA or FOA? Somebody makes it, or FOM. Somebody makes a 10-minute highlight of every race. That's what I watch. But yeah, I did almost. Oh gosh, I got so carried away. 1957 movie. Heaven knows, Mr. Allison Mitchum said to the nun, "We call you mackerel snappers." Wonderful picture. Christ is king indeed. I've heard that on this show recently. I've never heard mackerel snapper until a few weeks ago. I have a feeling POTUS knew CK's demise was coming. It's a suspicion I've had. I can't prove it. Dusty blue collar guy here. Maybe the best show. Christ is king indeed. Jim, are you hinting that the women who find Andrew Kolvet a little effeminate or too clean might want to reach out to Jim Bailey? I don't know. Thank you. Joining late tonight, could my humble host remind me on the website where CK's timeline is being open sourced? Love you, Baron from El Paso, Texas. I don't have an open source. There's a website called whokilledck.com. There are some aspects of the timeline on there, but I don't think, I don't know that there's a single comprehensive timeline available. We'll put one, I guess we could put it together. I don't know. I guess I'll get up and change my laundry. Thanks for the guilt trip. Christ is king indeed. Glad I can help you, Sarah. You'll be better for it. You'll be better for it. I read a book in college, Sarah, that was like, if you don't make your bed every day, you'll never be anything in life. And I have pushed back on that for so long, but I have started, I should admit this, I have started making the bed lately. My thought on a made bed is like, it's exactly like I like it when I get out of it. Why would I make it? I want to get right back in it just the way it looks. My wife is going to kill me for saying that. We do make the bed. We do make the bed. But I have taken it upon myself to start making the bed. In a nutshell, evangelical Christianity is a sham set up by the CIA, our greatest ally, bigoted religious grifters, as a political op for the U.S. to invade other nations. Makes me sick. So many fell for it. I don't know that I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think there are a lot of really decent Christians who consider themselves evangelical Christians who live the faith. They live godly lives. They try to do great things for people around them. You know, Matthew 25 stuff. But I do believe there are opportunists controlled by dark, demonic, evil forces who have infiltrated many religions, not just evangelical Christianity, but also evangelical Christianity. Catholic Church is not immune from some. Other religious traditions are certainly not immune from some. And they have infiltrated and are causing chaos and are jeopardizing souls. I'll go that far with you. How about that? Baron, seems to me that Johnny Moore just got the Midas touch like Macron did. Thank you for all you do, Baron. Midas touch. Wow. The dark thoughts you shared are the same thoughts I've had since September 10th. I became a member today. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for that support. Membership is a great way to support the program, and you get a free show every week. So I appreciate it. I'm a member to many shows that I don't even watch their member shows. I just want to support them. Because if we don't support each other, all we get is Ben Shapiro. Like, that's all we get. If we don't support Tucker and Candace and Barron and Coach and Ian and, you know, Trigger and Zach Costello, if we don't, you know, subscribe, members, donate a few bucks to super chats here and there. Nate Valhalla, I gave him a nice super chat the other night because I realized I hadn't super chatted him in a while and I wanted to support him. I want to throw a little support his way. I was watching his show and I was like, when's the last time you sent this guy a super chat? Well, it's been a month, maybe 2 months. Threw him a big one. If I don't support Nate, if I, meaning the viewer, don't support Nate, Nate can't afford to do the show. He's got to stop doing the show, and then I don't have him. I've lost his voice. So members are a great way to support programs because it's just like a small super chat that comes out every month. And it goes a long way towards keeping independent voices on the air. Paula White was an escort. Is that true? I can't say that. Is that true? I don't know that. Never heard that. You can't just say stuff like that. I can say you believe it allegedly. I don't even know who Jesse Duplantis is, but you're saying he was a drug dealer. Again, I don't know that. Both admitted past sins as transporters of drugs in their bodies on TV to get money and viewers. Oh, wow. If that's true, I've not heard that. I just think she's crazy. It's a sprayed roach. Please give your grumblers their feeling neglect. Yeah, I'm getting there. If I'm being honest, I've had an argument with the Grumble administration here recently. And I'm irritated with them. Not grumblers themselves, but the big cheeses over there. I noticed a few things that were weird, and I've called them on it. Kairos is Greek for a time when I said that, i.e. a turning point coincidence. I gave the definition of Kairos in my show. But thank you. Miss Weedman. Can we say Johnny Moore was perhaps touched by an angel? Too obvious not to say. I did love that show as a kid. I've never watched Touched by an Angel. I've heard there's some people that love it. It was wildly popular. I just never laid eyes on the program once. Interesting connections. Utah's Governor Cox recently largest data center in the world in Utah. Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank at the helm. They chose Utah for a reason to remove CK. What deals were made? I heard it's like 60 square miles or something, this data center. Is that true? Like, I didn't even know that was a thing. That's so astronomically large. I can't even comprehend that. I mean, that's so big. I mean, there are metro areas in the country with millions of people that aren't 62 square miles. Great show, Baron. Thank you. Thank you. 62 square. I think that's the number I heard. Bless you, Baron. Bless you, Baron. Thank you. Right in there with the Burnett, Trump, you, Liberty, greatest ally nexus is the Tea Party darling Governor Sarah Palin. Best tell-all behind the curtain book of our generation would be from her hand. I didn't realize Sarah Palin had a connection to Liberty. Dom, I don't give a Dom. Evil isn't winning, it's stalling before sentencing. 2 Corinthians 11:14, and no wonder. For Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. A deceiver doesn't escape his own deception. Revelation 20:10. Thank you, Don. Now we know why. Now time for exactly who and how. Thank you, Baron, for praying. I'm praying God protects you and your family. Please be safe that the truth is emerging. Y'all are targets like Charlie. Is this true? I hope we're not targets. Demons always cringe when Jesus Christ is said out loud. Keep saying it. Christ is king now and always. I believe that. You know why I believe that? Because they wrote a whole academic paper written by non-Christians, people opposed to Christians, frankly, telling us we shouldn't be saying it. Nonsense. Christ is king. Jesus Christ is king. Take that. Shudder, demon. As for the fake Christians, they will answer for it. Jesus said, my Father will not be mocked. Agreed. Agreed. We need to start a podcast that teaches actual history. News alerts. Zionists joined Adolf's team. The non-Zionist Jews left and were housed in Palestine before World War II. History rhymes, and this rap sucks. World War II is its own animal. I don't even know what else to say about it. It's its own animal. There's some love, grumblers. I can see where you're coming from with Erica. You can bet her PR, being Andrew, at least 90% of what she says is because of Andy. Makes even more sense with Mikey saying that. Yeah. I think Mikey was right on the money. Girl in red hat with braids. She followed CK out. She trades places with a guy that has already been on the radar. So I sent to Candace, but maybe I can tell her. Maybe you can tell her. She yells some things, then trades places. I don't know what all that means. We Catholics eat fish on Fridays, hence mackerel snappers. Oh, I got it. Sometimes I listen passively as I'm momming. Impossible these two past episodes. I should have grabbed a pen and paper. A rewatch is in order. I warned you yesterday to get a pen and paper. I even pulled out a pen. Remember, I did this? And then I realized I didn't have a notebook in front of me, so I couldn't show you both. This mackerel snapper told you about it. Going back to Mass on Sunday after 30 years. Thanks. Oh, I'm telling you, you're going to be under attack. Take it in, soak it in, just watch, enjoy. But understand, the demons are going to notice you're going. Don't let them win. Lived in Lynchburg and congratulations, thank you. Lived in Lynchburg briefly. Check out LU growth. Oh, it's grown like crazy. My question is, when CO told EK she needed to look into AK, did she? If not, why? What did she do with that information? Did she even ask Mikey about it? Inquiring minds. Christ is king indeed. I think she did. Can't wait for a high IQ mug. Christ is King, indeed. Our 5-year-old autistic boy loves your theme song. It's a great theme song. What's not to love? Thank you. My heart breaks for the people of Lebanon. I know sometimes I say Lebanon because there's a town here in town called Lebanon. And so when I get fired up or I say it quickly, I say Lebanon. And inevitably somebody will text me or call me and say, it's Lebanon, right? And I'm like, no, it's not. It's Lebanon. It's really 2 syllables. Lebanon. Lebnun. Lebanon. That's how it's pronounced here in Nashville. Lebanon. I was there as a Marine peacekeeper. There's a town called Shelbyville down the road, and somebody was like, oh, we're playing in Shelbyville. And I was like, there's no such town. It's Shelbyville. There's Shelbyville and there's Lebanon. That's what we have here, guys. Let's not get carried away with the pronunciation. I was there as a Marine peacekeeper in the 80s. So much destruction from our ally. I guess it starts at home. The nun assaulted in Jerusalem. Disgusting. I'm glad you're alive. The Marine peacekeepers, a lot of them didn't fare very well over there. Yeah, there's a lot of destruction. It's just disgusting. Don't be a Joe. Don't be a Johnny. I have a personal reason I can't do Don't Be a Johnny shirt. Let's not forget the devil knows the word better than any human on earth. Always remember to listen to the Holy Spirit. Christ is King indeed. The reason I can't do the Johnny shirt has nothing to do with Johnny Moore. But I can't do Johnny shirt. Happy Star Wars Day. Is that today? May the 4th. I didn't know what day it was. Thank you, and Candace, too, for all you do. And thanks to everyone who wants to keep this investigation going so we can find out who was behind the Charlie Kirk murder. Thank you. After reading this last book in the CO Book Club, The Secret Founding of America by Nicholas Haggard, what's funny? That's on my book. That's on my nightstand. I bought that quite separate and apart from her book club. I saw somebody mention it on some online message board somewhere, some Facebook thread or something. And they were talking about, now maybe they were talking about it because of Candace's book club, but I thought, man, this book sounds fascinating. So I bought it. And then I found out she was reading it for the book club. I've not finished it, but it's an excellent book. It's wild. Makes me think we've been in a spiritual warfare this whole time. Makes me think we've been in spiritual warfare from like the 1600s. You're right. AK is directing, creating a character, like on a reality TV, encouraging the bad behavior. Interesting he wanted to be a screenwriter, huh? Baron, as a lawyer, do you know the blueberry pie story in regards to circumstantial evidence? Do you mind telling us? I don't. Never heard of it. Thank you. Christ is King indeed. I don't. I'd be happy to hear about it. First time heard of Johnny Moore was when Tucker Carlson interviewed Tony Aguilar. He speaks on the food centers that are there to help Gaza residents. Sound like a money-making scheme, and shameful a Christian was running them. I haven't seen that episode. I need to watch it, I guess. Look into Liberty Connection with TBN. Christ is King. Trinity Broadcasting Network? Is that what you're talking about? Is there any history between Bill Montgomery and Johnny Moore? Not that I'm aware of. Just both. Bill was a creepy older guy, and Johnny hung out with a creepy older guy. That's the only history I can know. I'm just kidding about that, guys. Don't take it too seriously. Sometimes I just say stuff. God bless you, and thank you, Baron. Perfect timing. I'm preparing a speech to speak against conditioning books for children at public libraries. Praying for you and your whole family. Y'all pray for me and my local city hall meet. Christ is King indeed. The whole library thing is so ludicrous that they're like, if you don't allow these books, you're burning books, you're banning books. No, there's a time and place for everything, people. A time and place for everything. The kindergarten classroom is not the time to pull out, violent movies, like shoot 'em up movies. It's just not. Nobody would argue that it is. So let's not put shoot 'em up movies where kindergartners can get to them. It's just not the time and place. Time and place. Came to dark realization in 2021, experienced awful depression, was offline for 1+ year, and subsequently realized only God could see us, humanity, through it. Pray, pray, pray without cease every day. Christ is King indeed. Sounds like you had a good, interesting, healthy spiritual conversion, and I'm thankful for you sharing that with us. Halfway through chaos reinforces that Intel has infiltrated everything we know and experience. We need Christ more now than ever. I saw what's her name? Paulina Luna or something. I saw she was going to host an MK Ultra hearing in Congress or whatever. I'm in favor of it. I don't know what you're going to find out now 50 years later, but whatever. Can't hurt. Blood sugar's dropping. 45 minutes behind wrote spiritual war comment before hearing you spell it out. The collective consciousness is where the war lies. Good is starting to outweigh the evil. Truth and love is winning. Keep spreading it. I do believe that. And I think the political change from the younger people and the older people are now being, there was a political position that was very popular in this country 50 years ago, and it is going out. And I think that's a spiritual win. Spent a year in Iraq, 3 years in Afghanistan. I know the locals. We helped in the bonds I formed. I used to defend the all for oil argument. I now see how much darker it was. Go Max, Christ is King indeed. Hey, the people you met over there, let me guess. You met locals in Iraq and Afghanistan. They had kids and they just wanted their kids to be happy and healthy. They wanted to work at the local deli and maybe make some sandwiches for people who were hungry at lunch because they were working at a local that's probably what you came into. And you probably met people who were like, wow, my kids are really suffering and I wish they weren't. And you probably met people who were just wanting to be as good a religious people as they could possibly be because they had this deep, profound belief in God and they just wanted to serve God and their fellow man. I bet you met a lot of people like that because that's humanity. That's what people are. That's who we are. We need mods back in the chat. It's getting crazy in here. And Candace doesn't moderate her chat. I mean, we have some. We'll work on it. You did not like the nature of my first super chat months ago because it sounded demonic. This is what I was trying to tell you, Christ is King. Hey, sometimes it takes me a little while to get there, okay? Thank you. Sometimes, hey, we're not all perfect. We're not all perfect. A podcaster's never late. He comes to the conclusion of the demonic when he means to. Charlie came across the path of Johnny. Clippity clop, flippity clop. Who's that tripping over my bridge? To a previous poster, Charlie Kirk wasn't naive. He was resolved. He knew they were coming for him. He texted people as it was going to happen. It was almost like he was not resolved, resigned. Almost like he thought, well, only one way out of this, kid. That's kind of the way I'm starting to look at his last few days. Who's singing on your opening song? Genius. It's a vibe for sure. Is it available on Spotify? It's not available on Spotify. It is available on the Baron Coleman Clips channel. If you go there, youtube.com/@Baron Coleman Clips. Adfleet is the one who created that for me. She did a great job with it and is to be commended for that. So if you want to check it out, you can go there. Thank you. I commissioned that. I asked her to put that together and cut a negotiated sum and paid it. When you know Johnny Moore ran Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Back to education. When doo-doo hit the fan. Watch Tucker interview with Tony Aguilar. I am going to watch that. I was unaware that this existed. So I will certainly watch it. I early voted and I was done. My ballot had never looked like it before. Only voted for 3. Done voting for liars, not America First. That's interesting. I only voted for 2 people. There were 9 races on my ballot. I voted for 2. I'm done with these people. I'm telling you, I'm done with them. And in November, it's going to look much the same. And if you Republicans want to earn my vote in these close races, and some of these, I'm in a district that could go the other way. You want to earn my vote? You better start talking the right game. And I want to see evidence of it. Hey, Baron, I'm asking for prayers from you and other believers for my husband, who's just diagnosed with prostate cancer, and I'm asking for healing. Oh, man. Rosie, I'm sorry to hear that. Cancer is horrific, absolutely hideous. I will certainly pray for him. Certainly pray for him, Rosie. Thank you. I was born into the evangelical church, left a few years ago. They had evangelists come to preach from another country who are connected with child transportation. So much is covered up, it's sickening. Oh, the lies they tell. Christ is king indeed. That's horrific if that's true. Are there Christian communities in the West Bank? I don't know. Christian communities, West Bank, I assume. Yeah. 45 to 50,000 Christians live in the West Bank in East Jerusalem. Concentrated in Bethlehem, Ramallah, and Jerusalem. There you go. There you go. Some of the high IQ dads in the chat would appreciate your high IQ hats or high IQ heads. Can you get a larger size that would fit our large heads? You got a big head? I mean, I'll look into it. I just got the hat size they had. I guess Nurse Casey can ask them if they have big head size. Head! Fly Sputnik around that thing. That reminds me, was that So I Married an Axe Murderer? What movie was that? It was Mike Myers. I think it was So I Married an Axe Murderer. I think people misunderstand. Candace told EK about Mikey M. The new reveal was to the rest of us. That's correct. That's my understanding. He was already in danger if there was any. By revealing, it put him under the protection of his observation. That's the point I made in my show the other day. Well, I mean, he may not have wanted other people to know he said it. He may not have wanted Erica to know he said it, but she already knew. There's no universe where Andrew is responsible for the glitter suit and fireworks baron. At some point, you have to admit Erica came prepackaged with her own weird op, not just his. Well, that's good feedback. That's why I bring it to the jury, ladies and gentlemen. I trust your high IQ-ness. If you listen to the protocols of the learned elders of Z Place, full vid on YouTube for now, very informative. Good listen while kitchen cleaning 3 hours. I read that back in law school. I've been knowing about that. I don't know what to make of that. Hey, Baron, have you checked on Joe lately? Do you know if she got the help she needed? I think a welfare check is in order. Love from Australia. No, she hadn't come by to pick up the book, though. It's still right there. New court docs today. Defense seeking partial closure and sealing of certain evidence at hearing. State opposes contempt motion and intent to not introduce DNA evidence if judge rules a certain way. Huh? We're not going to introduce the DNA evidence. I got to read those. Thank you. Duly noted. We may cover that Wednesday. Baron, keep doing the Lord's work. Also, when you get worked up, makes it feel like you're yelling at me. So I'm going to listen to my bird box. I'm not yelling at you. Christ is king, praying for you and family. Family, thank you. I'm not yelling at you. I would never yell at you. Esteban, DZ, 007. Would never yell at you. I don't think. That Piper kidnapping case and family murder is super interesting. Talk about a miscarriage of justice. It looked like it to me. I just read the Gemini summary, but it looked pretty interesting. Please, can you check flight radar? Diamond Head, Mississippi. Helicopters flying low near I-10 and hearing ammo? What? I don't even know where Diamond Head, Mississippi is. I got to find where that is first. Diamond Head, Mississippi. All right, where's that? I see that. Let me see it on a map. Okay, it's down by Gulfport. So let me go now. ADSB will be better for this. Let me go to ADSB. All the way down to Diamond Head, Mississippi. All right. Gulfport, got you. Now let's look for choppers. I don't see anything down there. Oh, there's one. What is that? The UH-60, yeah. But it doesn't look like it's shooting anybody. Oh, it's circling Diamond Head, though. No doubt about it. Circling Diamond Head Airport. That's crazy. Wonder what it's doing. It did 2 circles to the west of Diamond Head, 3 to the east, and now it's flying off to the east. And looks like to be landing at Biloxi. Maybe it wants to gamble. He's like, well, I got my shooting out of the way. Now I got to go play poker. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's crazy. Thank you. But yeah, there's UH-60, the Blackhawk. Seems like Zechariah 12 and 14 getting set up. I'll have to check that out. I'm not reading 3 chapters on the air. I was 62 when I realized everything was a lie. They killed my husband and called it COVID. We estimate a minimum of 800,000 were killed with the protocols. 9/11, Oklahoma City, Ruby Ridge, etc. No conscience. It's like the greatest hits for the lies we've been fed that were devastating. You can add Waco to that. You can add a lot of people to that. What happened during COVID with the protocols, just mass murdering people, it's just devastating. What if BS is waiting in the wings to move into TP? DW failing, he will need a new gig. Christ is king indeed. What a disaster that would be. Loving the show so much. Appreciate all the hard work you and Daisy do. Unfortunately, I have to go to bed before it's over because I wake up to go to the gym at 3 a.m. 3 a.m.? However, I will finish listening during my workout. 3 a.m.? You need more sleep than that, girl. That's not enough. That's not enough. Think TPUSA could buy Daily Wire out with Ben Shapiro getting a seat on the board of TPUSA? Sounds crazy. But so does everything else at this point. No, I don't think so, but that would be nuts. Baron, your skin is glowing. What do you use? You don't know my secret? I think the last time I used any cleanser on my face was like 2002. I don't put soap on my face. I don't put face cleanser. I don't put bar soap, liquid soap, hot water. Now, if I get dirt on it, I'll put a little soap on there and not get the dirt off, but I don't like daily clean my face. Just hot water. I give it a good scrub and I put soap in the beard. Like I put, I get the beard clean, but I find when I use soap, I break out. Like soap equals zits. Your face will adjust and give the right amount of oil. You go stripping the oils out with soaps, your face will produce too much and you get zits. That's what I learned a long time ago. 7 nations in 5 years. Yeah. The memo. The Wesley Clark. Thank you, Barron. Lived in Miami for 17 years and no one calls it Southern Florida. AK's referral to South Florida as such makes him more suspect and more annoying. Certainly more annoying, but I agree with you. Correct. I've never heard anyone call it Southern Florida. There's no Southern Florida. There's West Florida, North Florida, South Florida, Central Florida. Jacksonville. They get their own area up there. I think the human master puppeteer is no. That's the ultimate Prince of Darkness. Now she is a tool, probably. If I had to guess. Even if AK is setting up Erica, he's not responsible for her history of lies, so she can't be trusted no matter what. I think she duped Charlie too. I'm not saying she's innocent. Don't get me wrong. I'm not wiping you away. I'm wiping away the thought. I did not mean to come across that way. Thank you for all your work. Thank you. King Bubba Baron, officially my birthday, 5/5, sending love to all from the UAE. Thank you for all you do. Christ is King and Jesus loves you. Thank you. I appreciate that. UAE, man, you're way over there. Happy birthday. Must be early in the morning over there, I would guess. Burn. So close, but stop short of saying on behalf of our greatest ally. Hate to say it, but Farrakhan had it right. I think they're just a tool. A very useful one, but just a tool. Thank you for your courage and strength, Baron. It gives me hope. Thank you. Lori was involved in an AI patent. Trump initiated Stargate. Lori's daughter married Charlie. Farah rolled out at his memorial. And now the ballroom. AI equals Satan working overtime. EK is just as responsible as Andrew. Love you. Thank you. And Christ is King. I didn't know that about Lori and AI. I think the rest of that's pretty accurate. Your courage and integrity are incredibly admirable. Thank you, BJD. I wish there were more people like you willing to stand up for truth and justice. God bless you and your family. I'll light a prayer candle for you before Mass this Saturday. Thank you. For you all this Saturday. Thank you. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. There are several of us out here speaking truth. There are several. Advice on public speaking, interviews, etc. Early and often. The more you can speak, the better you are. I took a lot of speech classes in college and law school. I did not want to graduate college or law school and not be able to speak in front of people. So if taking classes help, there's an organization called Toastmasters. They work on public speaking quite a lot, and I know people who've done that. But any opportunity you have to speak in front of people, I don't care if you wet your pants, just do it. Just do it. I don't care what field you're in. Eventually, you're going to have to stand up in front of somebody and talk. And if you are not comfortable with it, they're not going to think you know what you're talking about, even if you're a master in your field. So do it as often as possible. Talking to your mirror, fire up a camera and just talk early and often. More the merrier. Why isn't the possibility that Mikey was offered CK's spot in big dollars mentioned cheerfully involving him in the worst? Christ is king indeed. I don't know that that's true. I've never heard that. Ephesians 6:12, for we wrestle not against the flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Yes, that is on the nose. Not sure I remember it correctly, but wasn't there a life insurance policy that is controlled by the CEO of TPUSA? Could EK be blackmailing AK so she can control the money? Just thought. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know about that last part, but I think there was a life insurance policy, and I think there was some requirement. Yeah, the CEO requirement. I'm not sure. Please watch Kill Tony, episode 765, 45-minute mark for 1 minute. It's pretty small stuff. I wish you'd have just told me what it was. I'm probably not going to watch it. My son has walked around all day singing your theme song. I love it. Thank you, Baron, for you do. Thank you, Adfleet, for the catchy tunes. Thank you, Daisy. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you. Baron, you're the only podcaster I listen to who knows where Valley, Alabama is. I live in Smiths. I've been to Smiths. We know. We've made national news once, and it's when our mayor got caught cross-dressing. Love your show. I covered that on the radio when it happened. Actually, no, I was not on the radio when that happened. My buddy Jeff Poor, though, he runs a radio show in South Alabama, and he also works for 1819, excuse me. And 18, it doesn't matter, but he works for 1819 News. And he was, I think, involved in that story in some capacity. But yeah, your mayor got caught cross-dressing, and it did not end well for him. I mean, it took the final way out of that story. But yeah, at Valley, in Smith Station, I've done a lot of campaigns in that area. I think at one point I had like 9 campaigns active in Lee and Russell County over there. So yeah, I'm very familiar with that area. I think our greatest ally will be the 5th column. Oh, yeah. Learn from Redacted today about the origin of the Schofield Bible, connection to Zionists, and it is mind-blowing. Yes, it's true, too. Baron, can you wish my wife, Miss Morgan French, a happy birthday? She's a member and loves the show. Happy birthday, Morgan. Happy birthday, indeed, and thanks for being a member. Armenian genocide. Christians by the Ottoman Empire, infiltrated by the Donmei. Google it. Don't tell me to Google stuff. Just tell me what it is. Tell me what it is. I like learning from you guys. I don't like being told to go look stuff up because I am very busy. Like, it takes a lot of work to put up these shows. And if 20 of you tell me to look something, I'm not going to be able to do it. So just use your comment space to tell me what you want to say. This is a crazily timed opinion, Baron. I'm listening to Tears of Heaven series by Kenneth Ziegler. It's fiction, but it covers this topic. Among others, your opinion gave me chills. Wow. Sounds like a cool series. Joan of Arc saved France from the Brits. France sold her to them, and the Brits burned her at the stake. Joan carried a sword, never killed one person. Yeah, she has a remarkable story. We have an icon of St. Joan of Arc on our wall upstairs. Jordan Peterson never publicly professed Christ, so he doesn't count as Christian. I'm learning with you guys. My B. I see my B. First super chat. First super caught. Awesome. For RBP in beginning, can you say the support from family, friends, etc.? Also the negative people saying you're not going to make it and how you just kept pushing forward. Christ is king indeed. I did have several people say you're quitting your job. Yeah, I am. I got a lot of how big of a pay cut are you taking? And so I got a lot of that. You have kids, right? Yeah, I got some of that. Some of that. But you just, I don't know, man. Just did it. Still here. Erica Kirk looks like Hulk Hogan. The show fits. Okay. But Baron, Erica was hired knowing the job to keep CK in line. Never loved him, so she felt no grief. Now, that's an opinion, and I understand why you think that, but I don't want to state that as fact. Really, she hated him. Certainly don't want to state that as fact. He was just the target and opt to get to another level on the power rung. So I get it. I understand why you're saying that. On a little overnighter with my husband. Great day, but now he's lying down. I had to pick back up and watch the show. Priorities, right? Christ is king. Well, you can't just let the night get away from you while he's snoozing. Turn the show on. Be nice to intercept a TP drinking water delivery. Also, allow Father Dan a couple of minutes with it and send it on its way. Christ is king indeed. How do you know Father Dan Rehill? How do you know him? That's funny, a drinking water delivery. Saw Pope John Paul twice in Hart Plaza on the Detroit River, and the next day in Hamtram back in 1987. Amazing experience. Even as an atheist, your shows are the best. Thank you. Rick. 2-hour, 44-minute Gospel of Matthew. Satan took Jesus and showed him the kingdoms, saying, if you worship me, I'll give you. Jesus refused. Other accepted since. That's funny. I mentioned that today on a telephone call with Zach Costello. We were talking about some stuff, and I mentioned, and he agreed, and he shared his thoughts on it, and he actually expounded beyond what I'd initially said. So we agreed with that exact sentiment, that even Jesus was tempted by this same thing. And if Jesus was tempted by it, why wouldn't humans be tempted by it? Look out. I'll give you all this. Follow me. Some of them are. I may have some info on the company Kids First. You brought Kids First up in a connection with EK in a past episode. I used to provide service for children with the name Kids First in my service. Interesting. You're spot on, Baird. I've been asking out loud for many months now. How can this not be something higher and more powerful than us? How can anyone conclude anything else? It truly defies logic. Powerful realization. Yeah. You just summed up my whole argument. Thank you. Also in 2017, Candace and Charlie meet. Oh, interesting. Article said at a political conference in Florida. Same place he came across Johnny? Maybe that's why they had to intercept Charlie. They saw that Candace was there and they thought, uh-oh, they've hit it off. I don't know. That's crazy. EK doesn't seem the type to be submissive to Andrew's tactics, IMO. She's smarter, more headstrong. I don't know if she's smarter. Might be more headstrong. She enjoys power and spotlight. I agree with that. Interesting perspective, though. I learned about the Schofield Bible on Tucker Show a little while back. The new knowledge has really been working on me. I think a lot of Protestants have been hoodwinked by that deception. I think a lot of people have. Working on book, we have all lost our way based on a line from Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. That was a great book. One other day left super chat on Washington Hilton. Want to be high IQ. Christ is king indeed. But I have a master's from Liberty. Very familiar with Liberty. Generations. Just ask. That's interesting. That's interesting. Thank you. That's a great book. I think I've shared this with you guys. I went through like a whole year where I only read books on American Indians. Biographies, stories, wars, conflicts. Like I consumed American Indian books. Gave me a whole new perspective on the country. Stay away from the Schofield Darby Bible. Look at copywriters. I think Tinsdale's a good Bible. Pick up old copyrights, maybe a Bible that has more than 66 less ease likely to be corrupted research. Okay, thank you. I just saw a Grumbler chat come in. I'll get to that in a moment. Order my very own Hold Please mug and Christ is King Indeed shirt. I still can't get over that EK never says Charlie's name, always my husband. It's creepy. It's creepy if we're being honest. I wrote a letter, TR, and if he fires back, I want to share that with you privately, but I don't know how I would do that. I really hope he writes back. Give me like a 99-cent super chat that tells me he wrote you back, and we'll hook up. B, it is spiritual. Agree 100,000%. We do not wrestle against flesh and blood. Also, it says to deceive, even if possible, the elect. Matthew 24:24. This is end time stage, and he will protect his true people, I'm certain. Oh, people have been saying it's the end times for 2,000 years. We can't, live as if the last day is today, but, may not be. If they dismiss AK's lawsuit, can Candace still get discovery by countersuing? Please keep exposing evil. Well, you can't countersue once the suit's been dismissed. You'd have to initiate your own action. Deep show today. Thank you for your hard work, Baron. Could EK have heard about the Big Bang at the doctor's appointment? Got the news that he didn't make it when she was at the airport. In the New York Times interview, it indicated she was in the air. And that would be a very difficult story to uphold. Baron, could we please get Go Max apparel? Would love to see fellow Americans wearing them. We need to stick together. I think we could do that. More to Liberty University window? Yes, I think so. Quite a bit more. And it could be very dark. But I think the vast majority of people at Liberty University are probably amazing people. I don't think it's like everyone who's ever attended and everyone who works there and every program is evil, but I think there's some darkness there, sure. Didn't Eric and AK know each other? Thus, isn't she part of the operation to infiltrate Charlie? Did they know? I don't know that. Did they know? Does anyone been able to prove they knew each other before that? I don't know. Wow, thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. Your friend from the back row. My friend from the back row. Okay. But thank you. I appreciate that. Never forget General Wesley Clark told us in 2007 the plan was to take out 7 countries in 5 years. On the list, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran. And here we are. Many pastors' churches run cover for military and political operations. Yeah, some of them unknowingly, but yeah, I agree with you. You just made the connection between Hunter Kovac and Charlie Kirk through Andrew Kolvet with Mark Burnett working on the Kimmel Show. Yeah, that's interesting. That's a good point. Y'all been Babe Ruth in these shows out of the park. And for real, folks, the RBP mug has officially taken. Oh, my mug isn't in here. I was going to show you my version. It's really taking my #1 mug spot. The handle alone is the mother of all mug handles. It's a great handle. Get all 4 fingers in that handle. It's amazing. How many handles can you do that with? Almost none. Almost none. Why offended by the death of Christians, but not motivated by 5,000 dead Palestinian children? Jesus held children sacrosanct. I didn't say I wasn't motivated by them. And I think it's way higher than 5,000. I didn't say at all I wasn't motivated by it. I think all dead civilians and innocents is an absolute tragedy. Let me go back to that. I'm motivated by the death of innocents. My point is, Johnny Moore is going on all these interviews and these podcasts saying he is motivated by the death of Christians, and that's why the United States needs to get involved. And my point is, now we have death of Christians in broad daylight in Lebanon, and he's nowhere to be found. We need the responses after Charlie said they're going to kill me. No one would have left that hanging, and it would explain everything. Also, why isn't Erica speaking out against the Iran war like her beloved Charlie? We know why. Yes, we need both, and I appreciate that. Very, very, very nicely said. Gifted 5 members. Thank you. Cohen Film. Thank you. Thank you. Baron, you're a gift from God Almighty. Your wisdom on tonight's show doesn't come from a book. It is the discernment of the Holy Spirit of God in you. The 9 fruit of the Spirit are woven into every fiber of your being, and it shows. Jesus Christ is the King of Kings. Well, thank you. I cannot. I have to deflect that because I'm not a perfect person by any stretch of the imagination. But thank you for very kind words, very generous donation, Anita. I greatly appreciate it. She traded places with a guy that symbols literal seconds before. She's signaling something in the tent. She's on the team. I'm saying she knew. Sorry. I don't know who you're talking about. Traded places with the guy that symbols. I don't know who you're talking about. I mean, I'll watch it again and look for it. Baron, I'm a Southern Baptist pastor in Middle Tennessee and watch every episode. You're killing it. Jesus fulfills it all. Christ is King. Message. Thank you, Brad. Good luck to you and keep your flock in line. Let them know Jesus loves them. Hi, Baron. I think EK has really been thinking she's running this up. Government, military, JE, Roth, connections gave us her propagated arrogance. I think she's now saying she's only needed till she isn't. Yeah, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere. Ike gets no slack. She's nothing but indignant, defiant, and threatening. That's not how innocent behaves. Zero humility, too. I'm not giving her slack. I'm just offering an alternative explanation to see what you guys think. I'm getting strong feedback. I miss Charlie. The more Erica shoved in our face, the more I despise her. And the last video was hands down the creepiest. I agree with that part. The battle of good and evil. Christ is king indeed. I agree. It's creepy. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, folks, but the Prince of Darkness runs the world. Oh, gosh. Hey, B. 2 Chinook choppers flew from the area of Right Pat today. I live less than a mile from there. Interesting. They don't normally fly Chinooks out of there? It's a dumb question, but Larry's posting about CO's husband deported due to her allegations. That can't happen. No, he's a citizen. You can't deport a United States citizen. It's the stupidest line of attack I've ever heard. You cannot deport a United States citizen. Keesler Air Force Base is in Biloxi, Mississippi. Oh, I believe you. Praying for you, Baron. Been watching for several months now after the heaviness of tonight's show. Had to do my first super chat and let you know how thankful I am for you and all you're doing. Thank you. Stay safe and Christ is King. Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Very kind of you. There's Southwest Florida regarding intel infiltration into everything. This is Satan at work over many years and seems to be reaching some sort of crescendo. Well, I hope you guys don't look into Our Lady of Good Success. If she's right, if that's real and the message is right, it's going to get worse. But bear on, I don't know if anyone else pointed this out, but Trump began attacking Candace after saying Charlie told her the DJT would betray MA. Notice 10K CKS episode is missing from Apple Podcasts. I didn't know that. Interesting. Raised evangelical, shunned after 10-7, discovering the truth about our greatest ally. Catholics have been a great source of encouragement. Christ is king indeed. Thank you. It makes me sad that you were shunned from your home church. Makes me sad. Almost all watching have been liked. Almost all watching have liked. Can't imagine anyone watching wouldn't have loved this amazing high IQ outfit. Christ is indeed. Well, the number of likes almost matches the current number of people watching, but 68,000 unique people have watched, and we don't have 68,000 likes. Macron changing the stained glass at Notre Dame, ignoring the outcry from Catholics, dark times. That's a dark family, man. That's a dark family. The Macrons, I'm sorry, they're dark. They're dark. This isn't dark. Oh, sorry. It's biblical. Oh, I agree with you. You're speaking words Jesus was sent to warn us about. And the only way anyone is safe is to profess belief in our Lord and Savior, and he's the only one that wins. Christ is king indeed. Thank you so much for your work in this message. Thank you, Amber Nicole. That was so kind and so generous. And I genuinely appreciate that. I think you're right, though. You're right. It's biblical. The biblical message. My thoughts exactly about Billy G on the Nixon tape. Yeah. Consider OS on Schofield Bible to inform regarding Zionis. Consider an opening statement. That's a great idea. Great idea. I need sycamore tree for the little guy to see. You talking about Zechariah? Yeah. Do you know what happened to Brandy and Billy? No video for 2.5 months. Took a bunch down. Yeah, so I think they've decided to go their separate ways. I'm glad you asked. I actually texted Brandy not terribly long ago asking the same question. Are you okay? I saw her pop up on a few podcasts, so I knew she was alive, and I've seen Billy posting on X, but I had to know. I was like, what's going on? Why aren't you guys podcasting? And I think they just had an amicable decision to go different ways and each do individual stuff. And so I think Brandy's starting her own show, and Billy may be starting her own thing, and more power to them. You know, some people don't want to be on a duo. And honestly, if you don't want to be on a duo, this is a good time to figure it out. Better now than build up 1 million followers and then decide 4 years from now, I'd rather do this on my own. So it's tough, but I think they're both very talented. Franklin G. only preaches Christ and works in disaster areas, both in the U.S. and around the world. I think Moore was name dropping, and they want to attach to someone with credibility. I would look closer into Franklin Graham. I don't think he's a bad human, but I think he politically is not aligned with my politics. Matt Walsh announced today he was going to be focusing more on cultural commentary and less on politics. He said politics are boring. The DW ship is really sinking. What a disappointment. What a terrible disappointment that guy's become. After CK murder, EK hosted a donor dinner where CK's mic was in a glass case. That's correct. We covered that. It's disgusting. Same manner in which Netanyahu has a golden pager and COVID syringe in a glass case. They brag about their weapons. CK was taken out with necklace Mike. Where's the entry wound? I never saw blood coming from chest and white shirt. Am I missing something? It would have to enter near waist. Christ is king. No, you didn't see the shirt jump up to the neck? I did. My grandma request denied in Orem. I've had several denied. They don't like to give stuff out. Appreciate all the work you and Daisy do to bring us truth and facts. Thank you. Had to rebuke the gaslighting this weekend from Pastor. Everyone should stop fighting and get along with his lecture. Everyone looking around like, who's fighting? Not fighting. You fighting? I'm not fighting. Who's fighting? Why do Johnny Moore and Andrew Kolvet look so much alike? That question's been asked. I didn't even think about it. It didn't dawn on me they looked alike until you guys started mentioning it. So I knew very little about that. Now you guys have told me. Thank you, Baron Grumblers. Love you. I love you too, Moon Goddess. I hope you're recovering from your surgery. Johnny Moore seems like he has a little sugar in his tank. I didn't say it, Johnny. I did not say it, Johnny. BC Sides said it. Not me. Not your humble host. He would never disagree, but I would never say it. I'd agree with it. Guys, it's been a wonderful show. Thank you for joining me. It's been dark. It's been heavy, but it was necessary. And tomorrow, I'm going to try to do a member show tomorrow. I want to have a particular guest, and I'm going to see if she's available. If she is, we'll do the show. If not, I'll figure out if I want to try to do a show without her, or try to see if somebody else wants to join me. But thank you for joining me. Hit the like button. Moon Goddess checks in, says she's doing great. That's wonderful news, Moon Goddess. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share with friends and family. I don't mind if you guys clip up the show and share it on TikTok and Instagram and X and all that. That doesn't bother me. I mean, short clips don't bother me. If you were to like put up 45 minutes, and I don't know that it even bothers me, but I wouldn't do that to someone else. But little clips here and there, I think help advertise the show a little bit and make people want to come watch. So appreciate everything you guys do. Appreciate you joining me. I know you guys will never forget, ever, under any circumstances, never. Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful night. If you're a member, I may be back tomorrow. I may wait till Friday. We'll see how that goes. But either way, I'll be with you Wednesday night, one way or the other. I'll be with you Wednesday night for the regular show, 6, 7 o'clock, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, depending on what time we get on. Get the show together and get ready. Have a wonderful night, and I will talk with you all soon. Thanks, guys.